Stay with me. Brothers, what we do in life.
I think I said it this morning.
China.
I think it's a very small price to pay. And frankly, I thought it was going to go down much more, if you want to know the truth. I assumed that it was going to go down much more, only because people don't understand to a large, it's a big chess game at a very high level. It's a very high level chess, the highest. And I'm dealing with very smart players. These are smart people. They don't get there. You know, when you deal with some of these people, you're dealing with high level intellect, very high IQ people. These are not Jasmine Crockett and her group. These are smart people. These are really smart people, and violent people, and vicious people, and some very nice people. And some are very nice but violent. They turn violent. But you know what? If I didn't do what I did, we would have been hit. Number one, very important, was the termination of Obama's horrible deal. And number two, this beautiful plane hitting them 8 months ago, whatever it was, and taking out their nuclear capacity. That totally threw them for a loop. If they had that bomb at either time, 5 years ago or 7 months ago, if they had that bomb would have been used almost immediately.
How is it going out there, my fellow world patriots? It is indeed, checks the date, Monday, March 23rd, 2026. And I think we're bringing to you episode 201 of Hold the Line. And yeah, I'm correct. I got the numbers right. Yay. And of course, we have Mr. Mac and Miss Lisa. We had a very interesting little play in there. And I hadn't seen that clip, actually. I'm glad Mac had dropped it in. Of the little chess talking about the whole situation, and we'll get into that in a second. But let's make sure, Miss Lisa, are you back? Let's make sure she's here and say hello.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
What's going on? How's everything over in the UK? And I got a couple stories that aren't so great
really
from
need
there as
to
well. Yeah, I know. But the floor is yours, ma'am.
Oh well, you know, I think we should just start the show.
It's like pass on that
yeah,
one.
Absolutely.
All right, Mr. Max, sir. No problem. Mr. Max, sir, how's everything with you, brother? And if you want to touch a little bit on this thing and what they were talking about beforehand, because I thought it was pretty interesting for sure.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Always a pleasure. Thank you for having us as usual. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to everyone that tunes in. This clip I found very interesting. We had mentioned chess the last week, I believe, and also about a little bit about Sun Tzu and why Trump has selected a lot of the people he has selected, even though they might have a checkered past. And so in this situation, Sun Tzu says for those people that have infiltrated, an entity, government, whatever, you use those infiltrators, and he even says like good, bad, and all that stuff, and he uses them to do what his ultimate goal is. And behind the scenes, whether or not that's holding them accountable, we find out at some point. But that's what makes Trump very genius, is the fact that he's able to do this. And then by keeping them close, if you bring up Q post 2694, Q's actually mentioned this before, because what they've been using is section 702 and the FISA warrant. So anybody that's in close contact with President Trump could be a possible national security risk. And therefore they would fall into what's called an umbrella effect. And that would allow people within the United States to be surveilled based on the FISA warrant because of their association with foreign entities. So well, some of the things that first comes to mind is social media influencers who are spreading a lot of propaganda. That would they would be definitely succumb to this. And yeah, so like we talked about with this, I think, was it Section 702? Was this the one that's coming up, or is it 302? I always get these confused.
Yes, no, you're absolutely spot on. The 302 is the FBI report that they write. They call those 302s, and the 702 is the spying or the unmasking.
So that is coming up to be decided upon, and we know that it's pretty unconstitutional, but President Trump, and according to Q as well, I think, has taken that and flipped it on itself, and they use that as a weapon against the deep state. So that's how the FISA can work both ways. Yeah, and that's why they didn't get rid of the Smith. Reiterated. I feel like it's being reiterated, and it really hit home when Trump brought this up after we had just talked about it on the previous week and so forth. So I'll let you go from here.
Oh, that's great stuff. Miss Lisa, any comments on that one? Because and well, first let me just see if you got any comments on that, and then I'll take you guys in a different direction on something I've covered a couple of times, but I have not had the pleasure of talking about with you, you two. But Miss Lisa, anything you want to touch on with that one?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so all right, so I'm gonna have to, let me see, go back to my links here. All right, so I've touched on this a few times, right? And we didn't really get to talk because of the show. I don't think we did, right? Did this whole Joe Kent thing stuff go on last week while we were doing the show? Maybe it just had released.
No, I think it was after.
Yeah, I don't think it had, right? So yeah, like, you know, any thoughts on this? And I'll just tell you guys like where I, you know, stake my claim in the ground essentially was, I could sit here and, you know, for the next 2 hours and say Joe Kent's a traitor to his country, this, that, and the other. At the grand scheme of things, it's not going to do anything. But of course, we can discuss what it is. Now, also, I can say, nope, he's part of the plan. He's 100% this. But again, I'm not going to stake that claim on either side because I don't know 100% exactly what the hell is going on. But I do have some interesting things to show you about him and his past, and having to do with some of the things I dropped to you guys earlier as well. I think I dropped them with that special unit that they were in. Pretty interesting stuff. But go ahead, Lisa. Sorry.
Yeah. Today's the 23rd.
It is.
So we heard him kind of criticizing Trump and the Trump admin and all of that. And today he put out a tweet. It's Joe Kent at Joe Kent 16 Jan 19. President Trump is working to get peace with Iran. If we can make this happen, it would be a very good thing for our nation and our allies in the Gulf. The Israelis will be against this, but POTUS is strong and can get them on board. 1558, 23rd of March, 2026.
The hell? That's, wasn't expecting that one. That's interesting. And so again, but that's actually bolstering a little bit towards my point here. So I'll show you guys this. I'll do it live here really quick. So you go over to his, what?
He's under investigation.
Well, yeah. So they're saying he's under investigation for leaking. That was predating his resignation. So yeah.
Yeah. So he's trying to get ahead of it, just like the deep state always tries to do. That's why, like, kind of clicked to me that some of these people that we're starting to see in the media are getting ahead. So you get familiar with them. You get a liking to them psychologically. They become friendly, and it's tough for you to get away from the fact that they may have done something wrong. And that's what they do a lot of times. And I feel like this is kind of what he did here. Classic.
Yeah, I mean, and so that's the this guy's guilty, he's a bad guy angle, right? And again, I think I would answer for Lisa, myself, and Mac. I hope they don't mind, but I would say 100%. You don't know 100%, right? Because I don't know 100%. So that's the only thing I'm saying is I don't know 100% that this guy is a bad guy and he's doing all this stuff because he's trying to save his rear end or whatever. Okay, that's all I'm saying, because it can go either way, right? But as well as kind of what Lisa just said, it's like, oh, Trump's powerful and peace with Iran. This will be great. This is weird. But then you go over here to his military stuff and go into the different units that he was in. And we've seen this stuff, you know, going way back years. This one specifically, intelligence support activity. And so when we go back and we were looking at this stuff long time ago, we end up finding this other thing too here. This old secret army of the Northern Virginia type of people. So again, I'm just giving you guys data points. I'm not saying yes 100% this dude is a good dude, he's part of the plan and he's part of the script, but it seems like it could be to me. I don't know, okay? And like you said, Mac seems to be leaning towards bad guy side, and that's totally fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Miss Lisa, anything on that with Miss Lisa, and then we'll come back to you, of course, Mac, for sure.
Well, the SOAA, Special Operations Association of America, and the tip of the spear, I don't know. I listened to Trump today talk about Joe Kent saying, I thought he was a nice guy. He didn't talk to him that much. How he married, this is coming from Trump, by the way, how his wife died and he married quickly afterwards again. And a few other things which Trump said today.
Interesting. I wonder if it was after that post from him. And that's just like a Massey move too. But Matt, go ahead, buddy. the quick marriage after the wife.
Yeah, the story that Trump gave, and Trump's talking about he like gave him a chance. He'd lost a couple times, I think, in his race. He used to be a Democrat, I believe, and then he became a Republican. And then this would kind of fall into if he's under investigation, how did they know that how he was being investigated? Was this under that FISA thing that I'm talking about, where he is leaking stuff and he got caught, or they had to catch him doing something? So how did he get caught? And
I have a link from Fox. That's all I know, is that they said that he's under investigation and it precedes him resigning, essentially.
Yeah, I've sent the video in the chat if you want to play it, but we don't know anything else about it, unfortunately, that I know of. It says for allegedly leaking classified information. So,
yeah, I mean, and again, so we can kick this back and forth all day, but like, we'll see how it pans out, right?
Information.
But it is interesting. I'm just interested too what the folks in the chat are saying too. Only one person walked on water. John M.F. Kennedy, you are right. He would have known about
also
Benghazi.
Pay attention. One thing to also pay attention to is the people in the background trying to sway the narrative, and those people that are automatically on Joe Kent's side, I kind of question, just because. Yeah, so if they're quick to judge and all this information, even we're saying we need a little bit more than this, and to really come to a educated conclusion, they either are inside info on something, or they're trying to get ahead of the narrative.
Yeah,
and
it's one or the
time
other.
will tell. Yeah,
absolutely correct. It's one or the other, and I'm not gonna sit here because I know 100% fact and say this is it. And then anybody out there that's telling you they know 100%, they're lying just flat out to your face as well. And also keep in mind, keep an eye out for all these big, like Lisa calls them the binfluencers, who are always sharing each other's stuff and propping up each other's stuff, and then really quickly too, like it was like within day 1 or 2 of this whole kerfluffle that they were like, nope, Trump's bad, and that's it, and it's been like that ever since. So all these people, I was talking to a few people earlier. I was like, listen, people wouldn't have a clue who I was. Not saying a lot of people do know, but anybody that's gained any sort of notoriety off of this stuff, like I see a lot of people with 200,000 followers, 300,000, 1 million followers. Yes, rah, MAGA Trump, yes, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, he's in their pockets. And it's like, wow, that was really quick. You really took a 180 really quick. So just beware of those folks. And then, of course, they'll try to get themselves back in, if they're wrong later on, into your good graces. So just beware of that. But I'm not so positive that will happen, especially with all the Alex Jones stuff that he said about Trump over the years. But people still flock to him as well. So I don't know. All right, guys, where do you want to go here? I got some stuff.
I just put something in there. Chuck Norris died.
Oh yes,
there's a little video there.
Yeah,
got to give a shout out to the Valentine's pick.
There's some good memes out there, obviously, of Chuck Norris that went legendary. So yeah, and he was a great martial artist from his day, and did some great movies.
Do you want to listen to him?
Yeah, go for it.
And I got a meme for you as well. It's more like dad humor, but let me pull up this one. And they had a couple of really good talks, him and his wife here, about some of this stuff here, and I really liked it. So let's listen here. It's only 25 seconds.
Estimated that in the 2008 election, 30 million evangelical Christians stayed home on voting day. Obama won the election by 10.
We know you love your family and your freedom as much as Gina and I do. And it is because of that we can no longer sit quietly, stand on the sidelines, watch our country go the way of socialism, something much worse.
Yeah, and they've had, I really wish people could talk nicely and civilly with each other, kind of like what we've been talking about, right? Like people can disagree about things, but when you start getting all, rah, 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 it's like it's politics. Like I understand, you don't like Donald Trump, okay, but like you got to get so angry about it. But yeah, they had a lot of good stuff over the years, and by all accounts was a good dude. I've never heard any accusations about him in any way, shape, or form. I could be wrong, but I've never heard anything for him. You guys? Either of you two heard any? I don't know, Chucky?
I have not.
Yeah, I put
Lisa, have you?
I wouldn't think so. I mean,
No, just some corny movies.
really.
To be honest, I watched them all.
That's what makes them iconic. I know, that's what makes them iconic. I miss the old, the sound effects and the English dub overs, and I used to watch that stuff. That was so much fun with my dad.
You want to fight? Fight me. And maybe I don't know if you guys. There's one particular scene of one of the movies he was in. I don't know if it was like Strike Force or whatever, but I remember like it was yesterday, and I, for some reason, can never get this vision out of my mind. Anytime I think of Chuck Norris, I think of this movie that this dude is. I think this guy had like it was like almost like a pen where people would do a little sniff, but it was like metal. And so he comes up behind him and he's going to go kill the guy, and he just basically slams the back of the guy's head, and basically the thing goes up the nose and, breaks his brain or whatever, kills him like that. And I'm like, ugh, that scene for me is just like always stuck in my head. But apparently there were 10 people who actually beat him in karate in his career. So he had 195, 180, 193, 195 karate fights, 183 wins, 2 draws, and 10 losses. Absolute legend. So yeah. Need more of those type of dudes, the Clint Eastwoods and the Chucky Norrises of the day. And I'm surprised he outlived Clint Eastwood outlived him. But let me get to that was what you had there, Lisa, right? Mr. Chucky Norris. All right, let's get to today's links here. Go ahead,
At
Mac.
some point in the show, I've got a couple posts, one by the White House and the other one by Trump. One was the vintage video, another one was a college basketball video that we can cover at some point, and I feel like there's some hidden messages. I'll find it for you and
just
send it in.
Throw them at the bottom. All right, yeah, this is the one that I think Mac had put this one, but I'll let you guys just hear the audio quick because it's 50 seconds. Oh, just the beginning here. Here we go.
Sources are saying that Joe Kent, the former director of the United States National Counterterror Center, this is from Semaphore, he just resigned. He's now under FBI investigation for allegedly leaking classified information. And the investigation predates his departure.
And again, too, you know what we haven't really discussed too, guys, is, and I don't want to have to spend too much time on it, but I feel like it's a somewhat an important thing for us to talk about too. Like Mac, you had mentioned earlier, like we got a bunch of people that and obviously some people are paid to be online. We heard about the $7,000 per post and this, that, and the other, right? But at some point, my thing is, and I'm not going down the Candace or whatever that guy's road where I don't know if you guys heard that, but apparently that dude Mitch that was on Candace was talking about like white hats and this, that, and the other now, and whatever. Some people are running with it in one direction. And I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is, we do need to have some of these people out there that need to have this discussion and make it loud, or else if we never have this discussion, then the grip that this country has over our politicians will never get solved. I don't know if that comes out right, if you guys know what I'm saying with that, but like, as much as I don't like to see all this negativity. I feel like it's a necessary part of what we need to get accomplished here, because if we never have anybody arguing about, oh, these people are, got Trump in his pocket, like we never have that talk loudly, then it never gets discussed and it never gets fixed. Mac, any thoughts on that?
No, but I sent those videos in. Sorry, I was busy searching.
No, you're good. You're good. How about you, Lisa? Any thoughts on that one?
Well, I can, like say, what is presented, if you look on the face of it, is, you look at what's going on, with Israel and all of that. It's like, all right, let's just deal with how did this war start? Well, we know Marco Rubio said because of Israel, yes? And then you look at Pete Hegseth, and his mentor is basically, I've got a video somewhere, and this guy just pops up all the time. That Pete Hegseth is, every time he's around, this older guy's around, who just happens to be a Zionist. But we also know what Pete Hegseth thinks about Israel and his tattoo and all of that kind of thing. Then you've got Marco Rubio, who, before he was the Secretary of State, he had a meeting with Larry Ellison, who asked him about what he thought about Israel. Then you've got J.D. Vance, whose mentor, friend, investor is Peter Thiel. And we know Peter Thiel's connection with Israel. And the list just keeps going on. And then you've got Jared Kushner, Chabad Lubavitch, kind of whatever it's called. Pretty extreme thoughts on, like Israel supremacy and all of that kind of thing. To me, it seems extreme. Anyway, extreme views. And then you've got Steve Witkoff and the people that he hangs around with, and you might as well put him in the same basket as Kushner. And they are doing all the negotiating. Then you've got the lady who is Trump's largest donator, is it Elson, the widow, who also turns up in the Israeli equivalent of Parliament, Knesset. Not that she's an MP, but she has a lot of money, and she donated $200 million just the other day to Trump's campaign. And she was also seen at the when the Japanese Prime Minister, visited the White House. She was also there. So you just got all of these people that are connected, and not just some distant association to Israel. And Jared Kushner, I believe, grew up with Netanyahu staying at his house. So, I can see where people are coming from in thinking about what influence do they have, because it's everybody who is like a close confidant and advisor, whether that's to do with the position that they've got, or the closeness to Trump. And then on top of that, you've got a lot of the Senate and the House where they accept money from IPAC, and we know that IPAC are not designated as a foreign entity or foreign influence, whatever you want to call it. And we know that JFK, that's one of the things that he wanted to do. He wanted IPAC, the equivalent. If this was IPAC, they had another name back then, and they changed it since. And he wanted them to register them as a foreign-like entity. And that has never happened. And the day that he wanted to do that, I think he got killed the next day. And that's what he was pushing for. So I can see where people are coming from. We know how Israel works, or let's say Mossad, Unit 8200, and we know their tactics. Epstein is a great example, and we know that they infiltrate, and we also know that America funds Israel to the tune, I don't know how much money they give to Israel, and we know Israel's influence because Netanyahu can just come and talk to the House, Congress, whatever it was, and get something like 43 standing ovations, something ridiculous like that, you know, and talk about war before it's even happening. But, you know, if you look at it on the face of it and take away any emotion, any of your allegiances and stuff like that, I can see where people are coming from, actually. I can.
Yeah, and what did Q say? We're saving Israel for last. So I still hold on to that. I hold the same sentiments. Like, there's a lot of things that Israel has to answer for. We've even talked about what was it, January 6th or whatever date it was when they let January 7th when Hamas attacked,
October,
and there was like
October 7th.
Excuse me, October 7th.
Right.
Yeah, where there was like a stand down for Hamas to basically come into the country militarily, and that's always been a question mark. So I think as time plays out and these events develop, we're going to see, I think, a lot more answers to the Israel part and what Trump's doing. With all this, it's also putting Israel in its place, bringing peace to the Middle East. So each country basically has an equal role in keeping the peace. I think that's his agenda and goal, but we'll hopefully see what ends up happening. As Trump said, Israel's been a great ally so far to the United States. So I know that he has to speak politically. He can't always just come out and say a lot of things. He's had there's been public mentions that he's had frustrating instances with Netanyahu and keeping him in his place. I think that thing that happened just recently, he addressed where they bombed a place. What was it called? Pars.
Yeah, that nuclear facility or whatever.
Five Pars, I think it's called, or something like that.
Yeah.
But that particular incident, Mike, I've got to say that I was up very early. I think I only had like 1 hour's sleep that night, and I was up very early. And the first thing that I was reading about was that Israel had done that, but this was from Israel. They said that they spoke to the Trump administration first. Then the other one was, anyway, it was all pointing to they'd actually spoken to the Trump administration and they were okay with it. That was early in the morning. A few hours later, it changed. And by the way, I do see a lot of news like that, a lot of news where it's like, oh, shouldn't have said that, you know, and then by you know, like in about another 8 hours, it changes.
Could it be fake news? Sometimes could it be percentage of it is fake news trying to get ahead of it?
I can
just like it's always been a percentage of it.
I think I'll try and find it, but I think there was something from the Trump administration, something before the announcement that you know, Trump's not happy with it, you know. And anyway, there's a few things, but just to give you an example. So we're told like what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz, yes, and we're told about how the Strait of Hormuz is going to be held down by the Americans. They're going to take over. They've taken over the sky. They've taken over. They've got rid of the Navy. They got rid of this. They got rid of that. They kind of weakened Iran and all of that. And then all I've seen since then is actually Iran gets stronger, and not because of what people are saying, because of what is happening, because of their precision strikes are on target. They say they're going to bomb something or send a missile to something, and they hit their target. The targeting of Israel, Tel Aviv, all of that, they've actually done pretty well at doing that, you know. Israel is at the moment in turmoil. And I think the first day that we did the show and this started, I said Israel is absolutely getting pummeled. Well, they've been pummeled a lot more. Dimona, which is a place which is where they have their nuclear, and it is not an ordinary place. It is absolutely secure. It's one of the most secure places in Israel. Iran bombed it. And they also penetrated the underground shelters as well. Everybody in Dimona, they're all scientists, professors, all of that involved in nuclear, and it is a secure military town. They don't tell you that on the media, but I know that because I looked into it. And it is, there were no defenses whatsoever. We were told that you've got unlimited supply of missiles and all of that. And it's like, no, you're not. That's not true because you're running out. And how do we know you're running out? Because Israel are asking for more and they can't get more. Ukraine are asking for more. They can't get more, even through like other European countries. And then at the same time, it's like Israel have hardly got any air defenses at all. Iran, I can't remember what the thing was, but it was as if Iran, they're weakened and all of that. And look what they've done in the Middle East. So that kind of thing, I just don't swallow, And then also, there's a very last thing. It's like, look, there's a need to control what is going on or try and at least calm the markets. So every Friday and every Monday, you're going to get something from the White House. And that's what it's about, That's what it's about because if Trump had gone in there and bombed the infrastructure, yes, then I'm telling you, it would have been. We've got a big crisis now. It would have been like, well, you're famous for crashing the whole of the economies around the world and even affecting your own. Yes. So that for me, that wasn't going to happen, and I'll leave it there because I got loads of that.
I feel like this is just like a surgical, like Trump said, it's a military operation. It's not a war; it's a military operation. So, I feel like this has been very surgical on the U.S. side. I don't know much about the Israeli side. A lot of it's like apparently blacked out in the Middle East and in Israel. You mentioned that like all these like Ukraine and Israel running out of missiles. I find it interesting because it sounds like they're disarming themselves, and in disarming themselves, they're not going to be able to fight back, and then that'll be more apt to possibly make a deal, as Trump always says. So I do look at that aspect of how war works, and right now the warmongers, Trump may have got them pretty much under control, hopefully, because he's always mentioned the warmongers, and he's redone the military. He's redone military contracts and accountability inside the government. So I feel like we're seeing maybe a lot of that play out, and as well as like a very well played out operation that's been planned for years.
If you look at how, let's say the Patriot missiles, the ones that they use for the air defense. So, I looked at how many are actually manufactured per month. Yes. And how many were used. I can't remember the exact figures now, but how many were used in, like, say, approximately were used in the first week, the first few days of whatever's going on right now. And it's a lot because, for every one missile that costs about, the cheapest is about $4,000 that Iran send, then Israel and everybody else was sending up anything between, 5, 7, 8, 9 Patriot missiles. And Iran then changed their tack. They've even been kind of redesigning missiles. So they've got a dancing missile now, and that's one of these that I'm telling you, they've got no way of catching the dancing missile, because by the time the air defense missiles get to where it was, it's not there anymore. It's danced to somewhere else. Honestly, I had to laugh at that because I don't know. I found it funny because I was just like, dancing missiles. Oh my gosh! And then I looked it up, and then I started looking at footage of, like, say, some of the places that were targeted in Israel, and I'm telling you, this missile dances. And then the launch of the launchers, they don't have them in one place. They don't have one big massive place. No, they're actually mobile. So it just seems to me that Iran are actually, they've put up a good fight, and it's not necessarily the military might that is going to win this, because I think it's more down to strategy, and they've done pretty well on strategy and better than what has been announced from the White House.
And what missile do you think this was, guys? Because I find this is the one that hit their super secret nuclear facility. And then this guy just happens to be pointed directly at the sky, right where this thing is coming in. And also, I don't know if this thing has like a secondary jet system on it or something where it engages, because it looks like something here. That's why I keep replaying it, because I'll put a mark on the screen right here so you guys can see what I'm talking about, like right in this circle right here. See that right there?
Yeah,
it's
got some.
It's like a target ignition.
Some of them are jet propelled. They've got basically what probably wasn't understood, and what seemed to take Trump by surprise, was the fact of how many missiles they actually had. But Iran has been sanctioned for 47 years. They've also been attacked many times during that time. So they have become, like making missiles, drones. It's like that is a domestic industry in Iran, and they are the experts. That's why Russia went to them to get missiles and drones. They are expert in that particular area, and they have been, they've got all of the manufacturing. It's all internal. They do not rely on another country to be able to do that, because they had to become self-sufficient. So it's like you gotta give a little respect to their performance so far, because they've managed to stave off the supposed best military in the world. If I look at it practically, and Trump did say he's surprised that they've got all of these missiles, and it's like, well, they've got a lot of them, and they've been manufacturing them for years. And as I say, they've been during this operations, whatever it is, they've managed to even redesign some of their missiles and their drones. So that's all I'm saying.
I think Trump said that to prove a point that he's been right about the whole thing, Iran being a big threat, and the reason for going in was to prevent a larger catastrophe. And space shot, you show in this map, it's their inner ballistic missiles or whatever that they shot at Diego Garcia, and that shows the range of what their capabilities they have. And then on top of that, they were shooting at all the other countries, which shows that they are erratic. They're not trustworthy when something like that happens. And if they had a nuclear weapon, this could be like the impact of them dropping a nuke.
All right.
Quick question. Lisa, both of you guys, should this wall have broken? That's my question. Like, and I'll give you guys a couple scenarios. I'm gonna let you listen. It's only 6 seconds. So this guy happened to film it. He's spot on where this thing is coming down, dead center of his camera, and then he just runs off.
Yeah,
we're hearing stuff. you're hearing stuff, ka-tink, ka-tink, but shouldn't that wall have just like completely shattered? And I don't know what kind of missile it was, of course, but people in the chat are saying like, I mean,
there's the impact and then there's the explosion. So the impact, the first is the impact force that he's feeling, that percussion, and that's when he put the thing down. So you can't really see what happened afterwards.
And then also you can't tell the distance between the wall and the explosion as well.
oh, what
Really?
this guy in this wall, or the explosion? In that wall?
The explosion in the wall. Yeah, you don't know the distance because you don't know how big that explosion is. So you because I don't know. I'm looking at the wall, which was huge when he was close up to it, but I just don't think you can tell the distance from where it hit to the wall. But if you have a look at the damage in Dimona, if that is Dimona, you can well see the damage. And then also, I don't know if that's the missile that penetrated an underground bunker. So, it's going down into the ground rather than just staying on top. Whether that is, one of those that hit the underground bunker. And then the other thing is, Diego Garcia, do we really know? There was some Mossad people caught in the Middle East with explosives. We know how Israel likes to operate. They don't always do things in accordance, let's say. And the Diego Garcia just seemed to happen at an opportune time to give Europe a nudge to say, oh, well, Israel could hit London. I mean, Iran could hit London and all of that. Like the hype and also the coercion that they've needed to get up off their butts. And I do wonder about that. I don't know how much is, like I right at the beginning, I was going to say, like last week, I'm expecting a false flag, like without a doubt. I don't know. I just feel like in my gut, there's going to be false flags.
Definitely.
That's just the way that war is. It's the way the psyops go and all of that. And given the fact that they the whole premise was we'll go in there, we'll get out quick, and we'll bomb them, we'll get rid of their heads of the political parties or whatever, and the people will rise up. Now that was intel that came from Israel, and they're only just admitting now that was wrong.
Would you?
So that's what they were told. And how much? 1 second. How much do you think, information-wise, Trump really does get if you listen to Tulsi Gabbard and her testimony in front of that commission, whatever it's called? Because I'm not sure, really, even though he's the commander-in-chief.
Well, you don't think Tulsi's giving him information?
Well, the way that she said it was that she kept on saying about them just gathering information. She was asked about, but she was asked about. There was one report that she did just before that meeting, and it was part of her opening statement. And she kept on repeating that she doesn't determine the threat. It's Trump. They give information. The information that they give is information that is requested from the White House. They get requests.
Yeah, she was saying she doesn't plan the strike because she was being asked at that specific time, like, do we have different plans than Israel? And she's like, whatever. And then basically saying like, we have different goals in it. And then she was like, well, what about them striking this? And she's like, I don't know. I basically give all the information. So what she's basically saying is she doesn't prep the war plans. She just provides the information. That's how I was reading that.
Trump's the commander in chief. She's giving all the information of that threat, whatever is being requested from that department. Now, they also do give intel of things that are ongoing that maybe the president doesn't know about. But in this particular instance, I'm sure President Trump is requesting information about it, and she's got to keep tight-lipped because she can't say that she makes any decisions. That was a trick question for her to lose her job, because constitutionally, the president is the one who's the commander in chief and makes all decisions. In the end, he's the one held accountable. And that, I think that was why she answered the way she does. I think she has access to everything. She knows about all the things that are going on, especially the stuff that we've talked about with military investigations, PEDS Act, who would know, who would not know, continuity of government and so forth, to where she can only say so much. And I think that's why we see a lot of people trying to draw drama up with Pan Bondi and Gabbard and Kash Patel. They're read in. Dan Bongino, they got read in. They understand what's going on. And they have to do some deflection away from their main goal, which is this grand conspiracy. It's part of it's a grand conspiracy. We don't know what else beyond that. We can speculate, but we do know that there's a grand conspiracy case that is involved in over 90 intelligence officers, including James Comey. And we know John Brennan's investigated. So it's going to get pretty crazy. And I think a lot of this is to deflect from that and get us to get distrust the information being given, because we've been waiting for a long time. Yeah, there will be some discrepancies, but I think overall, I'm still in full trust of what Trump's saying. I try to read through the war games and so forth, but we showed that video of how big the United States Navy, Air Force, and everything is. It's not even close. I think Trump strategically and the military are strategically going at this with targets as an operation and to minimize innocent casualties, because they're not just bombing everybody. There's strategy behind that.
And there's a clear difference. There's a clear difference in the goals too. He's out there saying we don't want. And Lisa, you might remember me saying this too, right? I've been saying it on every show, and I'm trying to say it on every show that I'm on, which was since the beginning. I've been saying it's never going to be enough for them, the small hats, right? It's never going to be enough. So when Trump says, "Oh, we don't want to hit their infrastructure," and they're like, "Oh, yeah, okay, ba-boom," and then he's like, "Yeah, that won't be happening again." So we've never even heard a president of the United States ever talk about Israel like that. Ever. Never in the history. And I don't know that I've ever heard that word of that country being spoken as much as I've ever heard it ever since, again, going back to the Charlie Kirk scenario. And it's just, in my opinion, a very stupid idea to wake up tens of millions of people about that specific country only to just, we're just going to let them take it over anyways and let them do whatever they want at the end of the day. That's how I look at it. I just don't see, I really feel like had they wanted to say take us over, like the deep state's 16-year plan to take over America, I think they could have done it after the first 8 years, no problem, when everybody was asleep at the wheel, myself included. So that's how I'm looking at that. I mean, it's just, we'll see how it plays out, but nobody's mentioning the disparity of what's going on. You mentioned Lloyd's of London and, oh, wait, we'll take care of the insurance on it. We're going to secure the Strait of Hormuz. Oh, wait. Oh, hey, France, Russia, China. Hey, can you guys protect this area here? The area that you guys need the oil from the most? Oh, no? So, yeah, we're done being like the nation, the world essential police officers everywhere, right? We have to go over and essentially police everybody, and that's how it has been historically. And he's talking about getting rid of UN, which is great. Or is it NATO? Or both?
One quick thing to interject with that is that the military in the background, since Trump's gotten in office, has been doing these exercises, interoperability with other countries. And I think it has a lot to do with Space Shot, what you're mentioning, and being to coordinate in the future with these types of scenarios, trade routes and open trading, free and open trading. I'm hoping is what Trump's goal is. It sounds like a sovereign trading route where everyone's accountable for something. Everyone's not just going to stand by, like you were saying. The United States is not going to be necessarily the global enforcer. It needs to be a teamwork thing, and every country, as I'm reading Trump, as far as I'm concerned, he's treating each country with respect and dignity and identity, and trying to deliver that back to them while he's making America great again, because we've been robbed blind in the background. So this reset of the world is going to be game changing for everyone. Unfortunately, Europe is not playing along too well. And that's what we're kind of experiencing. And again, I'll reiterate, I really feel like the Rothschilds are a huge part in the background, along with like the Rockefellers and all those other bloodlines. And it has to do with generational control. And Trump's, I think, just, it's really seems to be working out. You're showing Japan when the prime minister came to visit. It
How
seemed like
funny
a
is
really a big victory celebration in her eyes, and I took that as a very positive note that the world is really being thankful, the sovereign world. So I'll let you go on to this.
And thank the folks from Red Pill. Thank you for rating the show here. And what was I just going to look up? I was just going to look something up. I was going to pop that up.
Whilst you're doing that,
Go ahead, Lisa.
talking about the Rothschilds, we know that Hitler is a Rothschild.
And the UK,
Solomon Rothschild.
and the UK kings and queens are German.
Yeah, Solomon Rothschild. I think his marriage broke down, and Hitler's mum worked as a maid. And when she and I don't know if you know anything about the Rothschilds, but seems to have a penchant for sleeping with the house staff, and she got pregnant and was summarily sacked because of that. And the information, I think the DNA, I can't remember the story of a few years ago. Was it Russia that tried to go in there and get it or something? Anyway, there's a whole story there, but Solomon Rothschild is his father.
He's a bastard.
Hitler's father.
Was he supposed to be named Adolf Snow? Adolf Snow. Well, here we got, this is actually from earlier today. Again, Israel strikes South Beirut. Says they captured Hezbollah members. But again, on, I think it was day 1 or day 2, they were already hitting Lebanon and other areas as well, and telling people basically you got to move out of there. And so yeah, they're kind of going erratically as well. And I don't know if I said this earlier or not, but the one with this, not Chuck Norris, the one with the missile there, like we saw in Ukraine, right? We had that one guy who was a citizen journalist on the ground, and he's like talking to the people that lived in Ukraine. And he's like, okay, you have big hole in your, apartment building here. Who did this? And they're like, the Ukrainian army did it. They turned their friggin' tank and they hit us. So something like this, oh, wait, Iran, their capabilities are not so good. Oh, boom, we hit this. Oh, boom, we just hit Diego Garcia. Was it them? I'm just putting questions out there, Could it be
and
them?
Also, Iran have been pretty good, and I think that they've been using this as a way to show what their capability is. So they've given a list of targets, and they've actually warned people as well. And every target that they've given, they've hit. And Diego Garcia was not on that target. Yes? And why would they go for, the reason that they went for the Gulf states is because some of the Gulf states were saying that they weren't involved, but there is evidence to show that there are missiles hitting Iran that are coming from the Gulf states. So that's one of the reasons why they targeted the military bases, the radar facilities, and all of that with the Gulf states. Yes. So that's why I question Diego Garcia. Because everything that they hit, they've been making a point of it. Like you do bragging rights or whatever. But Diego Garcia is not one of them.
And I saw an interesting. See if I can pull it up again here. As I was kind of looking through this a little bit earlier, I saw Elon's little favorite bun buddy here. Wait, look at this, Mac. Hold on one sec. Hold on. Just check this out, dude. This is just weird to me, like really weird. So they have this area hit with this particular missile, okay? IAEA confirms there's no damage to Israel's Negev facility and no abnormal radiation levels after Dimona missile strike. Oh, the IAEA, who's not been allowed to ever been in there and inspect those facilities, is confirming there's no damage to the facility? That's cute. Okay.
Yeah, and then also that Israel never signed the nuclear non-proliferation treaty or any treaty to do with nuclear. You know, so people, you know, they don't want people to know what they've got, but apparently, you know, the estimate is they've got about 80 nuclear warheads or whatever you want to call them, and Dimona is the place that they do all of that work. But you know, you see footage and you can see the damage to Dimona, and like I said, that was Iran seems to do that to show that they are in control at the moment of Israel's airspace. They're bombing everywhere. And not only that, they've, I wrote it down as there's something like, if I can find it, something like 11 waves per day or something like that. Is it per day? Yeah, there's something like 11 waves per day. But if you just look at the track record of the amount of missiles and drones fired and hitting their target and stuff like that, it's pretty comprehensive, yes, in hitting Israel. And I have a video that I'm just going to find. I'm not going to tell you what it's about. It's only a few seconds, but, you know, you'll get the sense of what some people feel in Israel, because, you know, they having trouble getting to they get the red alerts have been going off all over Israel, and you can find like tracking of the red alerts. And then, by the way, you can find the tracking of all of the things that happen on the seas. Even the UK has its own maritime monitoring and warning system. So every time something happens, they put out publicly a notice. Yes, so that means that you can check what people are actually saying and whether it's true. So when they say to you that the you know, like, oh well, USS Abraham Lincoln and US Gerald Ford, you know, are heading to the Straits of Hormuz, it's like, no, if you track the Gerald Ford, you'll see that it got somewhere near, not very close, and then it went off to Crete, and it's going to be out for 9 to 14 months. And there was they reckon a fire for 30 days. They don't know how it started, but that ship had been on the high seas for 1 year, and all of the sailors were due to go home, and then they were told to go to Hormuz. And then the USS Abraham Lincoln, I can't remember where that is, but I'm telling you, it's nowhere near the Straits of Hormuz. So I know you showed all those ships, but they're not near the Straits of Hormuz, because it's very dangerous for them in the Straits of Hormuz.
Yeah, like a sitting duck.
Yes, well, absolutely.
I do know that those tracking websites are not up to current date. Like, I've tried to track carriers for a couple of years, and I just realized and got frustrated that they just go dark after a while, and they don't transpond back to the website for whatever reason.
It's not that, Mike. It's not what I'm looking at. It's like, you know, it's called UK NTO or something. I'll get one of these warnings, but it's been going on for years, so that they can, you know, give some kind of notice to people on the high seas. You know, it's been going for years. It's not necessarily tracking; it is warnings. And then with Israel, they've got their red alert system. So when there's incoming fire, they will let the people know, because they've got a lot of bomb shelters. So they're informing people to go to the shelters, you know. And there's stuff that's leaking out of Israel, and there's a more or less blackout with the media, with the normal media, the mainstream media, on their reporting of Israel. You know, in the Gulf states, you know, you're going to get locked up if you put out footage of a missile hit. They call it misinformation. So, you know, this is the fog of war, and this is what happens in war, you know. if you're getting pummeled, you don't really want people to know. But there's a ton of footage, Mac, ton of footage. Nothing to do with like tracking and stuff like that. But the UK MTO, I think it's called. I'll show you a notice. They put them out, every time something happens, because they have to let people know. If a ship's been hit in the Strait of Hormuz, they will let you know. If a ship's been hit or there's something wrong, then in any other part of the world, they will let you know. And, probably one of the oldest forms of transport.
This is supposed, I'm just looking through this. This is supposed to be that area, the Dimona area. And I'm like, does any of this look like a friggin' nuclear facility? I mean, obviously I'm sure they have churches and stuff like that everywhere or whatever, but this looks like somebody's living room. And yes, it does say in a residential area here, 20 people injured by shrapnel direct impacts at the Dimona area, South Israel. So again, this could be a 2023 explosion.
I think they got a 90% success rate of taking out missiles since the conflict started. Is what
in Israel?
That's what they're claiming as far as intercepting missiles. So 10% are getting through. They said 365 ballistic missiles, 285 have crossed into Israeli airspace, 270 were intercepted, resulting in interception rate exceeding 90%.
And you believe them after 9/11? There's missiles in the sky, those cluster missiles.
Well, there's also the drones. I didn't ask about that. So,
the cluster missiles that they've been using, which they can't stop, you see them, they kind of split off like a firework, and it's like there is no Israeli defense going up. So normally you see the missile, the air defense missiles going up towards whatever's coming over, and you're not, and more recently you are not seeing hardly anything in the sky. And that's why I believe that Israel are running out of missiles, without a doubt. I think,
wars
because you're just not seeing the dome respond at all, and in Dimona they said, oh, we'll look into why the Iron Dome didn't respond, why there was no defenses against those missiles going in. That's the Israelis themselves.
Well, they've been set up. I mean, like Max said earlier with October 7th, that was just bananas. And kind of to Lisa's point, remember when we hit Iran, I think it was a year or two ago, whenever it was, but then they were going to strike us back at the base, and they called Trump and they told him, like, oh, hey, we're going to hit the base, but we're not going to hit it. We're just going to hit outside of it. All this stuff is just super outside of anything we've ever dealt with in a normal course of life, right? All of this stuff has been super weird and doesn't make much sense. We'll see how things go as we go forward here. Let's see, do we got anything else over here? Well, we got some other things we can talk about. And Mac did discuss that as I had it up on the screen. Japan says that they would consider Hormuz minesweeping if ceasefire reached. That's what their minister said. And as Mac mentioned, they did have the Japanese foreign minister. Why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you tell us about Pearl Harbor? That was like, oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, I made a meme on that.
That was a good
and by the way, it's the Europeans that have the minesweepers, and places like Japan. You don't have many, I don't think you have many at all. So that's one of the reasons why he wants to try and get them involved, because they've got the equipment and America doesn't.
We have a little update here from Supreme, the Court des Supreme. And I think this is, oh geez. It was this guy. Kate was his name. Never can remember this name. This guy. But I believe that's him to start. Oh, maybe if I stop muting. Justice Alito. So we're talking about all of this stuff, guys, for election and election days, right? Days and dates.
We have lots of phrases that involve two words, second of which is day. Labor Day, Memorial Day, George Washington's birthday, Independence Day, birthday, and Election Day. And they're all particular days. So if we start with that, if I have nothing more to look at than the phrase election day, I think this is the day in which everything is going to take place, or almost everything. And then we have 3 points in time, 44, 1872, 19. We can ask, what would people have thought on those days is meant by this? Which of those dates should we choose?
Well, I think you could choose any of the three. I mean, honestly, I think the single best one, if you just choose one, is 1872. And the reason I say that is because 1914 is the latest in time, but that's the one that Congress gave the least thought to.
Shouldn't it be election day, guys? Right? I don't really honestly know how elections work over in the UK, to be honest with you, Lisa. But you know, here in these United States, we used to have, you know, election results were always done on the day of, right? Up until Trump came in, and then we started having all this mail-in crap. And 2 months later, oh wait, the Republicans up in New York by 12 votes. Oh my goodness, wait, we just opened a drawer and found 15 for the Democrats, 15 more votes. So like they play this game where they figure out how many votes they need to get, and then they fix that by the mail-in voting. So this is something that needs to be absolutely taken care of, and they need to do the right thing about this, because I just don't understand how you spend hundreds of millions of dollars to just simply be delayed, and we've known how bad and faulty these are.
You think if I called my employer and said July 4th is going to be a month long that I can get away with it?
I'll be off on Independence Day month that week.
Yeah, we have one day for elections, 1 day only.
We used to.
And then by the end of that day, you will know who's won.
Yeah, that's how it should be, right? And you even have, you know, third world countries and other countries that mark people's hands and stuff like that, and I'm sure that's more accurate than what we've gotten. But you know, they've made a racket out of this in the United States, and it's, you know, it's kind of like the energy thing where, you know, the oil costs one thing and then the groceries cost more. It's the same thing with the immigrants. You bring in more immigrants to vote illegally, more tax money, you know, keep doing the cycle.
Well, we had Starmer do something that's never been done before. So there was supposed to be like the equivalent of your midterms, yes? And they fixed it so that all of these different local governments were not, for the first time in history, not going to allow people to vote.
Wow.
And I'm talking, there were over 20 of them. I think there might have been 40, something like that. But somebody can correct me and look it up. Any of you Brits out there, if you can let me know what number it was. But I'm telling you, it was a very high number, and it would have stopped millions of people from casting their votes. And he was adamant that he was going to do this. And his excuse was something about, oh, but it'll cost a lot of money, and you know, there's various different things going on, and it was really so that the election wouldn't take place, because he just lost, I think about 3, you know, like where there's an MP that leaves, and suddenly you've got to have not an MP. Somebody that leaves their position, like retires or something, and then they've got to have an election to see who takes over. So I think there was about 3 of those, and he lost all of them. Lost to the Green Party in a place that is, you know, has a high, well, maybe it doesn't have a high population, but you know, like he just lost like good and proper. So then he came up with this thing of stopping people from voting. There was a huge backlash, and then at the last minute he did a U-turn, which is about his 20-odd U-turn since he's been in power, you know, on all kinds of different things. But anyway, that's what he did for the first time ever in UK history of elections.
That's disgusting. And yeah, we've seen a lot of that, unfortunately. I have one thing for. I think I dropped it for you in there as well. I got one story out of the UK. I'll have to find that in a second, but it's not a good one, as you've unfortunately become accustomed to. Let's see. I don't. I'm stretching here. This is me doing a stretch Armstrong here, guys. So this very well could be a big stretch Armstrong. You see this?
I was shocked that President Trump truthed the Saturday Night Live skit about Starmer. That was
The
pretty
UK
great.
one. Yeah, that was. I didn't know they had a SNL UK. I had no idea.
It's just started. It's quite
I didn't know either.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting. So and we know here post ICE agents are now being deployed to 13 U.S. major airports to help manage TSA chaos. So I wrote ICE agents in 13 major U.S. airports, which just happens to be 12 cities, LaGuardia and JFK, both in New York City. Donald Trump said he may deploy the National Guard if ICE isn't enough. Why is the National Guard called upon 12 cities across the country? Cue number 3. Can you rely on being able to board a plane and fly away? Cue number 5. That's a little stretchy. So we'll see, though. But apparently they do have a little bit of progress on the matter. So that's pretty cool. Oh, what the hell? Right Angle News is gone? So basically they were showing... why is this link? Right Angle News, it should have came up. Oh, so basically they were showing on this link that I did have, was showing the guys in one of the airports, and things were running very swimmingly. Everything was going along very nice, and so apparently it's looking like it is helping. And I don't know what this is, guys. LDS Church. Just happens to be on my following thing, but LDS Church is funding Muslims? Rare? Oh no, I don't even. That's not part of the show. I didn't have that planned, but if anybody wants to touch on that one. This was interesting. President Trump put out a few of these today.
I got
Go ahead, buddy.
one thing about the airports and the ICE agents going in. President Trump said that Democrats are going crazy about it because they can arrest illegal immigrants. Well, ICE agents can also investigate. So, we know that there's been criminal activities caught at airports. Do we know if these airports are involved in criminal activity? I do know that I wonder. So because I remember the TSA being privately funded or owned at one point and it gets federal funding. Is that correct? It used to be Jim Beam used to own them, and they used to own like Titleist, and then they got bought by the Japanese, and they sold off the TSA to somebody, I don't know who, but I wonder if there is some ops in the background going on with investigations.
Well, just as you say that, I think I did see truth from Trump saying, no, we're going to put the agents in there, and whilst they're at it, they're going to arrest illegals, like really winding up the Democrats. And I noticed today, I don't know whether you can find it, Space Shot, but there's an employee of New York City that has been deported or is about to be deported, and he's worked for them for a while. Mandamis, got his knickers in a twist about it, and they've all got their knickers in the twist about it because they're saying, oh, but he's a good citizen. And it's like, yeah, he's a good citizen that's illegal. So he came on a visa and he overstayed that visa, but they also gave him a job. But they gave him a job and it was illegal to give him that job.
This guy? Let's see. Mandami's NYC City Council staffer, Rafael Rubio. Rubio just got ordered deported. Overstayed his 2017 visa, arrested for assault, never had work authorization. Adios, amigo. Your illegal status and felony assault equals a one-way ticket home. See what you did there, Katie. Good job there. That's pretty cool.
Play on words. I liked it.
I like it. Yeah. That's interesting. But yeah,
But there must be quite a lot of that because, Mac, I think you posted a story, was it last year? And there was that teacher who was the head of a school and he was illegal. and he got deported, and the town was up in arms. And there's been a few people.
There's been several.
You know,
It's
so
been pretty
it must,
shocking.
yeah, it must be a thing, right? So they're employing people that don't have authorization because they are actually illegal. So it's just another layer on top of how they're incorporating people. It's like, well, I wonder if that guy voted. You know what I mean? If he was part of New York City Council or employed by them, did he get a vote? That's what I'd like to know.
It's a one-way ticket out. All right, here, guys. So, additional raw footage from new angle. This woman is a U.S. citizen traveling with her young daughter, according to a witness who filmed the video. So that witness, she knew that person is a U.S. citizen. She could not provide her citizenship to satisfaction of the agents, and therefore was violently taken into ICE custody. San Francisco airport. Can you believe it, guys? Oh, wait, there's more. This arrest of illegal aliens occurred yesterday on March 22nd, 26th, before ICE officers were deployed to airports to bolster TSA efforts. Officers arrest Angelina Lopez Jimenez and Wendy Godinez Lopez at the San Francisco International Airport. Illegal aliens had a final removal order of removal from an immigration judge since 2019. While being escorted for processing, attempted to flee and resisted law enforcement. Oh my goodness. And so, guys, would you be, I mean, just think of the stupidity of this. Lisa, Mac, either of you going on an airport or an airplane, if you know you have a deportation order, like that's the last place I would be probably. I'd probably hang out at the police station more than I would hang out at at the airport. I certainly wouldn't take a flight. Like, are you kidding me?
Well, when you think about how long people have been getting away with it, because you know what's surprising to me is just, you know, it's not like somebody overstayed their visa for one day. You're talking years. There was the Irish guy, and he kind of married an American woman, and he overstayed his visa like 10 years. You know what I mean? Been done for domestic violence and all of this kind of thing. And he said he was being picked on. There's a group called, what are they called? Hanging on a string. I can't remember. Anyway, there's this Brit band that were good at like soul funk music, and they were very successful back in the day. And their lead singer took it upon herself to tour America, and she'd been touring America for 19 years, and then was surprised when she got caught. I think she was caught in January earlier last year. Or was it this year? I can't remember. No, it's funny. I think it was last year. And she was caught, and she'd been touring America, earning money for 19 years, something like that. 19 years.
Jeez. Yeah,
and it's like she was on stage, you know, so that's how brazen or it's how lax it has been.
Has been. Yeah, that's the problem, right? And
it's been a brewing for a couple decades at least. You know, this has been building.
Yeah, they've not been doing their jobs. They've not been doing what they were supposed to, right?
Then they pressed fast forward a little bit, you know, speed it up, and COVID hit. So it's been a whirlwind of, you know, a lot of crap.
Let me go back here before I get off of, I want you guys to hear this one, because of course this is more election stuff. And are you guys expecting anything else than just complete BS from the Republicans? Probably not, right?
So the photo ID amendment will be the next amendment. And I think all these things in the Save America Act, as we've all said, are common sense. We think they're supported by overwhelming majority of Americans. And in many cases, as Senator Husted also pointed out, you had 36 states that have adopted photo ID laws. Why wouldn't we have a nationwide one? And to hear the Democrats, hear the leader of the Democrats say in response to a question, we're not opposed to photo ID, but then to block even getting it up and considering it, and furthermore, to offer an alternative that bans and prohibits specifically photo ID, I think speaks to where they are. So the photo ID...
Unreal. So they want to, not only do they not want it, but they want to try to block it, of course. I think they need to stop playing the games that these people are going to play and just because you guys heard what Nancy Pelosi said like a week or two ago, right? They were saying, "Oh, you can do this," and they were like, "Well, you don't have the 60 votes." He's like, "Ah, 51. That's all I'll need." Oh, so they're gonna say whatever and do whatever they want. So I feel like the Republicans should just do the same thing. Absolutely. Mr. Mac, anything on that one, buddy? Elections need to be fixed. We know that.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm just beating a dead horse, but we're like we're almost there. Like we can see the finish line, but these guys are just delay. And the good thing is President Trump, I think, is making a big deal about it, so it's coming to a head. And we're hoping they fold and this becomes law, and then we can place a lot of the corrupt people just by having regular elections. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah.
We can, make it so it's safe going forward, and whoever wins, they win. But yeah, they're gonna need to bring in some blockchain or stuff. Lisa, anything you wanted to add to that? This was a little. Right, so yeah, go ahead. Got anything? Go for it.
I just dropped something in the bottom there, seeing as we were talking about the elections. There's something posted by somebody that you know, but just have a look at the documents. It's a copy of an email regarding Dominion voting. I didn't really go through it in detail, but just the list of the people that the email was copied to looks interesting. I don't know what it means because I haven't really read it, but thank you, Misha D, for that. Thank you.
All right, it says so. It's my favorite, my favorite guy, Patrick Barney, Geordic Matuvic, software manager, Dominion voting from Lu or Yu Chun Lu or Lu Chun Yu, whatever, to Nenad Matic, sounds like a game or whatever. It says, hi all, the numbers FW for USTA TUS related changes are ready, and I've uploaded the FW files to the FTP server below. Please help test and let us know the results. Meanwhile, the tablet arrives at Shanghai Customs. We are waiting for customs clearance now, expecting next week to get the tablet. I think they're talking about Tylenol or Advil or a voting tablet. Dominion voting. The tablet will be there. Then we have to put together who are these people. Like you said, all the people that are CC'd on here. Very foreign sounding names. Georgi Matovic, Sugana.
Look at the URLs. Like it says X at Dominion voting.
Oh, yeah. At Dominion voting.
I didn't really understand it because I didn't get a chance to fully read it. But
HP too, Hewlett Packard.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the company that, or is that Dell? What was the company that did all those bank accounts?
Hewlett Packard. It's HP most likely. Yeah, I think they own the rights to HP.
Yeah, was it HP or Dell? I don't know. I know Dell.
Well, it has printing in here, so it has to do with HP, Hewlett Packard. So if you read below the pink.
Oh, okay.
It says print job cancel issue.
So it says something as if to say, there's an action that takes place, and then they can control what maybe it's a tabulator. I don't know, but they can stop something from being cancelled. But it looks like it's being cancelled anyway. It looks dodgy to me. Whatever it is, I just wonder why they. What does he say there? What does he say there?
So he says the election tablets came through Shanghai. Steph Lambert inherited my DC Dominion suit with a crazy lopsided NDA. She found this and many dozens such emails. Surrender them to law enforcement. For that, she's facing disbarment and other DC district repercussions. And that was a post that he's reposting Rasmussen report saying Dominion, or basically quoting them. We don't have offices in Serbia. We don't have anything to do with communist China. And so let's see, what does that say up there? Belgrade, Serbia. My buddy, Patriot Politics Research. He's the Serbian family as well.
Send it to him.
No, yeah, he's good peeps. but yeah, no, it's yeah, he told me about that story about, I think it was World War II, where in Serbia we had some Air Force guys go down, and the people of the town literally protected this guy and hid him. And how do we repay them? You know, decades later, Bill Clinton bombs them on friggin' Orthodox Easter. Isn't that nice? But yeah, I mean, clearly they don't have anything to do with Dominion. I mean, it's got a heading right here that says Osmana Diako, whatever, 1811,000, Belgrade, Serbia, Europe. Dominion voting. There's a phone number if anybody wants to call. Should we call? I wonder if, do you think that number works still? Let's see.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's see.
And wasn't it? I'm just thinking, wasn't it Dominion that were asked about?
China.
Wasn't it Dominion that were asked about?
Pretty vote. Sorry, I didn't find anyone with this extension number.
Dominion?
Please listen carefully as our menu item.
It said something vote. It's not Dominion anymore.
It said Liberty Vote.
Liberty Vote, yeah. Oh, wait, didn't we hear that they sold out? Didn't they sell? Oh God, there's so much craziness going on. My brain is going a million miles an hour. Was that the company that sold out to an American, like, pro-conservative?
You're talking about Liberty Media. You're talking about Liberty Media, that bought Warner Brothers. And
no, the voting machine, the voting, like Mac was just saying. What?
There was a guy. I've got him somewhere.
I thought it was Smartmatic that was bought up by a Republican, apparently. Let me just check.
Clicking it as we speak. Conservative outlet Newsmax settles with Smartmatic. Voting technology firm, conservative outreach. One Republican now controls a huge chunk of U.S. election infrastructure. Let's see.
That's the one. That's the one.
Scott Landiker just bought Dominion Voting Systems, giving him ownership of voting systems used in 27 states. To be honest with you, I wasn't sure that I was correct. I thought it was. I thought it was Smartmatic.
But big announcement today that Trump wanted to put the voter ID within the control of Homeland Security. So it used to be assigned to individual states, and like I forget the organization, what it was called, but it didn't really have any law enforcement capabilities. It's just organizing that. So I found that was interesting and very useful to kind of keep track of people's identities in the United States. You know, something that is very important, as we're finding out.
Yeah, and Dominion back in the day, you know, they received 400 million from a CCP linked Swiss bank account, you know?
Yeah, we covered that last week. They're partially owned by China.
And then I do remember there is a video of the machines themselves, and it is China that supplies most of the parts for the machines. I do remember that going back to 2020. There was a big warehouse and somebody filmed them, and basically the parts come from China.
From
China.
China. I had to find the button. I get this little, as Trump say, China quick. Oh, you can hear that in the playback.
And we're supposed to be getting this bombshell thing about the 2020 election fraud and the CCP being involved very soon. So we're still waiting on that. And that's kind of being updated by John Solomon, who we kind of were told to keep an eye on. Just hope he's not there just to drag us along this whole thing. But he seems to be a legit person.
Seems to be coming.
Yeah, and Dominion was also tied to SolarWinds. Mike, can you remember the story behind SolarWinds, which was hacked? Who then deleted the links from their website to conceal connections.
Damn. Now, who was that, Lisa? I know the SolarWinds, wasn't that like the biggest hack that had like ever been done? And I don't think they ever like rectified that, did they? They just kind of poof went away.
Yeah, it seems that way, you know. And
Huge.
Dominion's also engineered with Smartmatic's root software with built-in backdoors, remote access, and heavy ties to China with its components, hardware, and software. There you go.
Right. All a little too connected to China for my taste.
China.
So
And
yeah.
then
Okay.
I was just going to say, there's a guy that was arrested who he got the contract for, I think it was like the people who work on the election, you know, like the election staff or whatever, and maybe the military as well. And back in the day, he was picked up, I think, by the police, whatever you want to call it. But I think he's more recently been arrested because he did store the information on. It went to Chinese servers, but he got the contract from the federal government, I believe. I think he was just recently arrested, but I think he was arrested before. Mac, it was to do with what's his name? Who did the Hunter Biden laptop and all of that? Mac.
Is that you, Lisa?
Garrett Ziegler.
Yes. Garrett Ziegler, yeah. Connect, that's the company. Yes, that's the one. He was arrested before, but I think he's just more recently been arrested. Or is it? I think it was, unless I got it wrong, I thought he was recently arrested again. I don't know.
Live. We'll do it live. Eugene Yu. Oh, let's see. Anytime in the last week. Anything on you? Anything on you? Right here. But again, attorney when is I do not know what this March 18th, Connex you filed. Okay, go back up here. We already heard the story 5 years ago from Catherine Engelbrecht of True the Vote. The U.S. intel is described as likely an outcome of the raw data that Engelbrecht gave to the FBI about China access. FBI then targeted her for knowing about it and buried the data. Glenn Beck is saying on the 17th, U.S. intel reportedly knew in April 2020 that China accessed voter registration data, names, addresses, partial social security numbers, yet we were told the 2020 election was the most secure ever. If key intel was known but hidden, that's a problem bigger than politics. And geez, you guys remember, you're supposed to have John Ratcliffe, who was running, what the hell was he running back then? But he was supposed to write a report for Donald Trump about the election no more than 45 days after the election, and said report was held up because, and I quote, analysts were not willing to basically say bad things about China, but more willing to say, yes, Russia, Russia, Russia. So that report never came out at that time.
Wasn't he the DNI at the time?
Yes, thank you. He was the Tulsi now back then. Now he's the CIA director, and they're all like these interchangeable, almost like what's that word he uses? They're casted. What's the word I'm looking for there? He said it about Besant last week. Central casting. There we go.
Central casting. Yeah.
And you guys just brought up something that I wasn't going to cover, and then maybe we still won't. But did you guys hear anything weird about the dude that she was doing videos with, Greg Phillips, and some teleporting videos and stuff that's going out now? Like, wow.
I heard something about it, but I didn't read into it. It just seemed like...
Yeah, Lisa, that was weird. He said he was teleported to a Waffle House. And I'm not making that up.
Oh, well, wasn't he the guy that was running the fusion centers where all the influencers went for some kind of meeting all together? I don't know what he was up to, you know? Well, I don't know, but he used to work for, is it the HHS? Anyway, there's weird things. There's weird things that came out about Greg Phillips. If I remember rightly, he doesn't seem to be around anymore.
No,
I can't remember specifically off the top of my head, but he is definitely of question.
Yeah. So just so you guys know, I'm not making stuff up. I don't even know, I don't know what to say. Ready?
And this is why he stopped drinking, right? Is that what he said?
News to me. Let's see. I'm not going to play 2 minutes, but let me see in the beginning. We had a teleport incident.
We had a teleport incident, 2 of them, and I ended up at a Waffle House like 50 miles away from where I was.
That man who is, yes.
I don't know who this guy is, but so
Well,
take that for what you will, guys. I don't know what to say about that, Lisa.
A couple of bottles of whiskey will get you more than the Waffle House.
I don't know what happened. I went to the liquor store and I woke up and I was at a strip club. Honey, I don't know. I didn't mean to. Wait, you dropped all your ones, all your $201 bills that you had with you before. They're all gone. I don't know. Oh my, yeah, that's just weird. I don't know, why. And he says it like it was like, yeah, we had a teleport incident.
Like
woke up in a Waffle House.
It's a regular occurrence or something.
Yeah, like I had to go up to the store the other day, and I was pumping my gas, and all of a sudden, boom, I'm in friggin' Kazakhstan. Like a Waffle House? But okay, all right. I was gonna show just some of these, but basically, Trump is saying basically now produce more oil than Saudi Arabia and Russia combined, which, if we unleash all of these things, all of the pipelines and stuff, I don't know. Can we get there, Lisa? Are we there? Is that a little bit of fluffing?
Did that come out today?
This is 10 hours ago. Yeah, all this stuff.
All right. So to me, I'm kind of taking it more as it's to calm the markets because they're going mad. But you see, it's not just oil that we're talking about. We're talking about gas. We're talking about aluminium. We're talking about helium. We're talking about food. We're talking about fertilizer, as in all of these things that are pushing up the cost of living. Now, if you're the president, that's not a good look. And it's not a good look if it's like affecting the rest of the world. And, Australia, they're already rationing fuel. And lots of other people having, like I think Sri Lanka or somewhere like that, they're looking to turn out the lights 1 day a week. Other countries are looking at people working 4 day a week. And, I do, for some reason, what keeps coming back into my mind is COVID. Like, is this another way where they get a lockdown? Because everybody's screaming about fuel and all of these other things. By the way, your farmers are not doing too good without their fertilizer, So are we going to, I'm just asking the question, is there a push for a lockdown regarding energy? Is there a push? I don't know. But I'm looking at it, I'm going, what are they going to do? Our bills just went up 33%, and there's a lot of countries that need fertilizer that they're not getting, and there's a lot of and aluminium. I don't know. Maybe have a look at what's going on in the market in aluminium in your domestic market, because it's not just about America here, But
I looked up into the fertilizer situation, which is mainly urea, and the United States is not affected. A lot of it comes out of, for the Strait of Hormuz, comes out of Qatar and was the other country. There's one other. If it comes to me, I'll let you know. But and fertilizer is used. Fertilizing. There's been a lot of controversy about what's in fertilizer and possibly poisoning the ground. Also, fertilizer can be used to make explosives. I don't know to what degree, but it is a component. So I found that was interesting. That has to do, outside of oil.
Well, you've got the statistics at the moment are 1 in 4 American farmers has zero fertilizer secured for spring planting. That's what the U.S. Agriculture Secretary said. So no fertilizer, no crops, no food on the table. It's a tough season. Farmers' bankruptcies are up 46% in 2025, and over 160,000 farms have already disappeared since 2017. Less than half of all farmers are expected to turn any profit in 2026. And the skyrocketing fertilizer prices are triggered by the Iran conflict and the Strait of Hormuz and the chaos caused. They've slammed import costs because they've gone through the roof. On top of the years of debt, because remember, Trump's always, not always, but, he's been pretty hot on making sure that the farmers are funded. And he's been doing that. He's been done that all along. So is it really as hunky-dory as what we think?
Hunky-dory.
So what's very interesting about the fertilizer thing is that there has been a shift in who's been producing it. And it's becoming more of a decentralized production. So you got India, Nigeria, Islamic State, Atmonia, Poland, and the EU. And they're expanding other like startups in the US. So the process of making urea is very simple. It's just a simple chemical process, and it doesn't geographically bind anybody. I don't know if I said Brazil, but that's another one. So it can be easily gotten around, I think. But I feel like this is there's going to be negotiations of different trade routes now, or possible ways to get around this. And I think that that's part of opening up this sovereign type of trade plan that I believe Trump's involved in. He's trying to get other countries to come in to protect the strait that they use the most. So we'll see.
They should all be doing that. And yeah, it's nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, it says, NPK to make fertilizer. And dude, it's such a weird coincidence that we talked about that, and you talked about urea, because I watched that movie that came out yesterday. It was Mercy, where they do the AI trial. Yeah. And that was actually in that movie, the urea.
Yeah,
it was actually pretty decent.
The other things that you mentioned, I'm pretty sure sulfur, at least one of the listed.
Oh yes.
Products that comes from when they produce gas. When they manufacture gas, that's one of the things that is sold off. So, think of the gas plants in the Gulf states. It is one of the things that they sell. So there are people that are reliant on it, and it does come through the Straits of Hormuz. But it's not just sulfur. It might be it's phosphorus as well. I know that that's good for fertilizer. So, but they sell those substances, which through chemistry, they're left with. Yes?
We are left with it. Let me thank really quickly, and then I'm going to pull up something interesting, and I'll have you guys talk while I run to the men's room really quick. But thank you very much, Josie Ann, for the $50 Rumble Rant. It says, God bless you for all your continued contributions. This and Sunday show are my favorites. Thank you very much for that, Josie Ann. And have you guys heard about this? I've only been seeing, and I'm sure Lisa and Mac will know about it. And so I'm just pulling up some older links. This one is not too old, a month old, but I've been hearing a lot about this stuff, and I don't know if you guys know much about it or whatever, but they say Jams Tech successfully extracted rare earth mud from the seabed at 6,000 meters using the research vessel Chikyu, one step closer to reducing reliance on China's supply. So I think I was seeing maybe a Fox News report or whatever that was talking about how they can actually start getting some of these rare earth minerals from, deep into the ocean, and we wouldn't have to rely on, certain countries like China. But it seems to me, was that Japan or was that China? Okay,
Japan.
You guys, take it away for me. I'm going to run to the men's room. I'll be back in a minute.
I've heard that they were trying to do this in the Bering Sea as well, but I'd have to look into it. I didn't know he was going to put this up, but I've heard of this kind of technology, and they've been working on it. So this is very interesting.
And then let's remember that, like, say, you know, all of this military equipment, there's a lot of it that actually contains rare earth. That's how they make it work. Some kind of rare earth elements. I don't know which ones, but I do know that it's required for military. Big use for it, you know?
Yeah, I think some of this stuff's top secret, and how they make the stuff needed for, like, say, nuclear. It used to be a centrifuge, and I think the U.S. found out that, I don't want to just say it was the U.S., but I believe it was them, that you can use a laser in order to enrich uranium. And that was a process that Iran had figured out how to do by stealing some sort of method, from what I understand.
Stealing or given, Mike.
Oh yeah, well, it could have been an Obama. Yeah, it could have been that.
Over the years, it's like an actually.
No, yeah. So, like, Obama comes to mind right there.
And Clinton. And
Yeah.
Clinton. You know, is trying to move and just giving them
Iran-Contra, which is another one that's crazy that really hasn't been answered.
And by the way,
Israel was behind through a lot of that.
Yeah, and just to go back a little bit, nitrogen-based fertilizers are the primary products made from manufacturing gas, particularly natural gas, in brackets, methane. And the process begins with the Haber-Bosch process, where nitrogen from air is combined with hydrogen derived from natural gas under high temperature and pressure to produce ammonia, NH2. This ammonia serves as the foundational building block for various nitrogen fertilizers. And ammonia can be further processed into ammonium nitrate and urea and urea ammonium nitrate. So that's where I get the connection to the Straits of Hormuz and the gas plants in the Gulf states. Yes? So that's how it can contribute to your fertilizer.
Yep.
Very cool. So we're gonna do it. It's probably gonna be very expensive to do it like this, but how expensive is it to do rare earth mining, you know, above the water? It's probably expensive as well, I would assume.
I mean, if they can mine for oil, you know, off the coast in those huge vessels, I mean, they might as well be able to do this at some point. It's just the technology's there, so I guess they're going to try it out, and then it'll develop, obviously, through trial and error. But hopefully, a lot of the error is taken care of.
Well, remember, was it?
Oh, they do deep sea Navy missions like this too. There's like air pockets down there, so I don't know if they're going to stay down there. Sorry, Lisa, I don't know if they stay down there for a particular time. So there's like deep sea repair, and they'll have these vessels where they'll stay at the bottom for a period of time, and then they have to what's it called when you come back to the surface, you have to decompress over time. So it's very interesting. Possible, definitely.
Well, didn't you know? Haven't you got a couple of circumstances where deals have either been done or they're thinking about doing a deal? So I think it was, what's that country next to? It wasn't Rwanda? It was an African country, and the president there said to President Trump, this was back in March last year, if you help us sort out this little invasion that we've had from the neighboring country, then we'll give you a share in our rare earth mining operations. And then, you know, there was the rare earth in Ukraine, which I believe now Russia kind of mostly controls. Wasn't there that? You know? Oh, yeah. Thank you, Misha D, for that. This is Netanyahu's wife.
It's a little older, though, but it is still her. Let me reveal it to the folks. Yeah, I was just kind of going through the thing. They're saying it's a post from like 2020, but she does definitely looked a little out of it. And they're saying it's from a filmed at a psychologist conference on Zoom live event. Looks like she's sleeping.
Yeah, if you play it, it looks weird to me.
שונים ולהתחיל ממקום אחר ולראות את הבעיה מזווית אחרת. אני יכולה לראות למשל בשטף הפונמי שהיא לא מצליחה לתפקד
Getting very sleepy. You're getting very sleepy. I mean, whatever she's on a downer, that's for sure. It's making her very sleepy. But yeah, 2020 though on that one. But yeah, it's and I think this one says it's his wife. I think the first one said it was his daughter, whatever it was. But yeah, interesting. We'll see. I mean, we need people like this to keep bringing up this conic stuff, though. That's good. We definitely need to blurt that from the rooftops. All right, let's see what else we got.
Isn't Durham's information, is that not going to be used regarding the grand jury and Comey?
I believe it might.
I'm sure they said that they've, like that information is going to be used. So it is going to be very, very useful because he was the first person to say, and, remember, Mueller died, didn't he? He's another one, he said that there was no truth in the Russia dossier at all. At all.
Oh, and he's dead too, by the way. Remember, he's another one. And let's just say President Trump had a not so nice farewell to him. What did he say? Good riddance or something like that. He was like, Bob Mueller's dead. Now he can't screw with anybody else or something along those lines.
And somebody said, "Oh, he's the one that had the Purple Heart" or something like that. And he's been horrible.
Yeah, and he helped cover up 9/11.
Yep, didn't he get installed like a week before or something?
Yeah.
4 days before?
Yes.
Sure did. Well, it's somewhat, I guess, touching on elections here. I guess it is. I did look up. I used Lisa's favorite resource, the ChatGPT, which, by the way, guys, I can't stress enough. It's the worst. It is horrible. And I'll just. Yeah, Lisa, I asked it I said, hey, I need the link to the John Podesta email where he writes or somebody writes a script of a movie talking about San Diego in it. Okay, here you go. Boom. Wrong link. And I'm like, hey, I only get I'm telling this to an AI like it's a human. Like, hey, I only get a limited amount of questions for you per day. I would appreciate they're correct. That was the wrong one. Okay, Mike, you're right to push back on that one. Here's the right one. Wrong again. 3-4 times wrong. I go over to Grok, first time, boom. So I'm not gonna, say that Grok is great and whatever, but just remember, guys, they give you wrong information like all the time. Oh,
well, I had fun because when we finished the show last week, I said, okay, let me, the equivalent of put my money where my mouth is. So I went to one of those Chat GPT or whatever it is, and I was like, okay, let's go. We're going to do a round here. So I asked it a question where I knew the answer, and it gave me the answer, and it was completely wrong. So I went, you are lying. Oh, I don't lie, is what it said. And then I went, okay. So then I asked the same question, but I put it a slightly different way, and it came out with another answer. So I said, well, the first answer that you gave that was a lie, now you've given a second answer. So you are lying. No, I'm not lying. It just depends how I'm programmed. And this is how I'm and I'm telling you, it explained how it lies. Yes. And how it gives you the wrong information. And I have it saved somewhere, but it's really long, and I will send it to you. And it's really interesting. But I caught it out, I don't know how many times. And I was really, like putting it through the treadmill or whatever. Anyway, it was hilarious. It was hilarious. It was about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was still up, and I'm like, no, I'm going to do this because I have to prove that it just lies, and it does.
It's just algorithms upon algorithms that to try to like make it AI. It's so complicated, but it's like you can tell that it's been it's early on, obviously, and two, it's been manipulated by whoever the creator of it is. That person's almost like, or people are almost like playing God. So it's not very. I don't trust that aspect. I use it to try to get quick facts and then links, and
Exactly.
and you know,
All
and
right, so
that's about it. Connecting any dots, and it's pretty bad.
all right, so look forward to when it is running your government, because they've already started to integrate it, and I think when we'll see what happens when Project Stargate gets going, because you know this is just it. In the UK, they suspended use of they put up loads more cameras and we're doing facial recognition. Originally, they said we're not going to do that, and then they did it, and they've been doing it blatantly and increasing the number of cameras, and they've just had to suspend it because apparently it's biased against black people. Right? Literally suspended the whole thing. And it's like, no, they told you from the beginning that it has a problem when it's dealing with black faces. Yes? From the beginning, they knew that, though. They knew that. And that is an issue, too. Do you see what I mean? And then at the same time, it's like, if somebody makes the wrong decision, then there's nobody that's accountable, is there? Is there? Because there isn't a person that's accountable. You can't take a computer to court. So, you know, there's things that we need to think about here, you know, because it is going to be running all of these things. And Mike, you just said it. You just said, oh, well, it's early days. It's not early days for them. You know, they're telling you it can do all these different things. And the start of the operations in Iran, you know, those 4,000 strikes that they made were all chosen by AI.
Heck no.
Apparently, do you see what I mean? See where we're going with this? You know, and the kids, they're given a laptop in school, and it's like that AI that we've just been talking about, that is what's teaching your kid. And it's like we just said, it lies and things go wrong, you know? So
bad.
I think we need to think about it, really.
I honestly think that these AIs are just
I don't
databases.
think the AI is making the decision. It's being inputted a question with certain data points and probably, you know, a geographical area, and saying, can you pick out such and such? And then they look at it, and does it match up to the data they have? And then they choose, you know, how accurate and whether or not they should strike it. And you know, that's a lot of points, but again, it's a large country, as you mentioned. So
It can be wrong, Mike, is what I'm saying. And I think last week, I think it was last week, and I was explaining that it doesn't think, you know, all that happens is there's much more calculation going on. But that calculation, the efficacy of it is based on the data. And the data that you're getting access to that is giving you the results is based on what is on the internet. So if I was to invest like millions of pounds into put in certain information at certain sites all over the place, you know, Israeli style, then you know I can influence what results it's given because that's where it's getting its information from, you know. And I said to it, why didn't you give me this information before? And it came up with this whole, you know, this is the way that I'm programmed. This is what happens, and all of that. So, you know, it can be flawed. Maybe use it for things like automation and robotics. Great at that, recognizing patterns. But you know, maybe we are relying on it too much.
Way too much. And again, I look at it more of like it's kind of like Max saying, it's somebody's putting the information in there. It's a database, and it's only the stuff that they want you to know. But then again, it's a computer. But so how does it get stuff wrong? So wrong all the time. That's what I don't understand. It's like, if you're supposed to be a computer, you're supposed to be this, like, you know, next generation of intelligence, but you can't answer a simple question. Like, and then when I tell it, like, I had a back and forth with it, and like to the point where I was telling it, like, dude, not only does that one not have what I'm looking for, and it doesn't even have John Podesta's name anywhere in the email. I'm like, you know, it's completely
you know why?
off.
they've added politics into it. I'll call it.
Oh, definitely.
You know, what's politically correct. If we just had one that just told the truth, you know, it was like data from Star Trek. It didn't have any emotion or whatever is Spock, you know, then they just told the blunt truth, and you know, it is what it is. But nowadays, it seems to be that it's a lot more complicated than just the truth.
It's called modern day MK Ultra.
Yeah, exactly.
Under another name.
Artichoke.
You know, because it's telling you what to think, and people are using it to tell them what to think. You know, and there's the other ones where, oh, it's my girlfriend. Committed suicide because my girlfriend's gone. My AI girlfriend. You know, like things like that. I mean, gosh, you know.
I gotta stop sharing with you guys just for a second here. I got a little freeze up on my machine. Let's hope everything kind of going forward here. All right, let's see. All right, perfect. Yeah, it basically was freezing my buttons. It wouldn't let me click onto the different things here. This one I had up a little while ago, guys. This was a massive fire at historical courthouse in Rome, Georgia. And I did look, and they said there's not election stuff in there. There may be some appeals and stuff like that, but there's no actual documents or anything like that inside of there. And one thing I was going to pull up too when I was trying to right here, tried to pull this thing over like 6 times, but we didn't touch on this last week, right, guys? The CAPTCHA. So apparently we were all training Google's AI for 15 years on CAPTCHAs, and we had no idea. This CAPTCHA training, and I mentioned the other day, the new ones are just getting crazy. They have like an orbit, and then like a number, and then another image, and like for 2 minutes I didn't even know what the hell it wanted. I literally didn't know what it wanted. I'm like, you're tricking the human.
And I'm sure we're all helping the AI with the flawed videos that we keep pointing out. So we're like helping it for free.
Oh.
So it's kind of crazy like that.
Brought that up. I got funny.
You're helping it for free with every app that you use where it uses search. You're helping it for free with all of your, you know, how do you think Grok got so good? Well, you all post so much on Twitter, you know? and you know, these are what do they call them? Large language models. So, you know, they're scooping up all of the information. Meta blatantly tell you with WhatsApp that you know, AI's recording it.
When Elon bought it, you know, it's gonna be very helpful for XAI, right? Right, Lisa? Like we had covered that from the beginning. It's just part of what his plan was.
Have you seen anything weird here at all?
Yeah, the hair doesn't look right. It just looks like a Ken doll, you know.
How about inside his ears? Oh, let's go back.
And there's the skin as well. Doesn't look right.
He's got an extra earlobe or something.
He's got an extra inner earlobe going on here. Watch this. The hell? Yeah, it's normal. That's real. You know. Again, guys. Go ahead, Lisa. I haven't seen him.
There's a news report that's like I'm sure they actually say that he's dead. I'll show you. Carry on.
In the fog of war, if he did die, keeping his death under wraps would benefit us. So, it would be less chaotic, I think.
Some people I don't know. Maybe he's dead, and then some people think maybe he's severely hurt as well. So
maybe he's compromised. You know, he's been compromised, and then he got caught.
Maybe he was being told what to do by the deep staters.
Yeah, Ehud Barak. You know, he's still hanging around.
Hanging around would be cool.
He gave a little piece to camera what he thought was going on at this moment in time. I can send it to you. It's quite interesting. I'm just going to send you this so you can have a look, and then I'll send Ehud Barak.
Dude, this is the
Why?
second time he posted this too in the last couple of months. I wonder what he's trying. Why does he keep posting
Yeah.
it? Why does President Trump keep posting this over and
So
over?
speaking about AI, I asked Grok what year this came from and month, and it was March of 1929. And which led into some interesting information. What was going on? What happened right after that in October? Because the stock market crashed in 1929.
Hey.
So that was the beginning of the Great Depression. So that, keep that in mind. In 1929, and then the White House posted that that NCAA video, and
Oh, the March Madness one, right?
yeah, well, let me stop there before we get to that part. Well, the big thing about that crash was that it was the Federal Reserve was created in 1913. We'll get to that part, and then there was something called the shadow banking. Now, if you look into shadow banking, they're like hedge funds, private equity funds, and they were the actual cause of that crash. So there's multiple entities nowadays that are considered, shadow banking firms. I have to find that post real quick.
I got the ones that you the screenshots you posted here.
Yeah, I got another little dig here. I'll post in. Go ahead, Lisa.
The IMF. I think you'll find it at the IMF website, and they talk about shadow finance, and it's one of the like growing sectors, and it's basically finance provided that doesn't come from banks, yes, for development and things like that. There's nothing nefarious about it, but it's just like, not everybody's getting their money from banks themselves, so there might be they might get it through loans, they might get it through finance, investment, and all of that. And more countries are getting their finance from shadow finance, and it's to do with I won't go into detail, but it's to do with structured finance transactions, structured international transactions. So the World Bank and the IMF, they might give a government money, but there are other people and other entities that are providing that type of money for that type of thing, which means that they're not as reliant on, because the IMF often there's like political caveats that go with it, so you take this money, Mr. Government, and we want you to spend 100 million on transgender or something like that, promoting transgender. You know what I mean? That's what they do. So there's political, like they have a political hold on the people that take their money. So there you go.
Sounds familiar.
So how this applies to today, there's an additional little tidbit down here.
Down the bottom.
But you got companies like the usual: Blackstone, Apollo Global Management, KKR, Blackstone. Sorry, I said that twice. Carlyle, Ares. You got Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Lending Club, Prosper, Schwab, and Fidelity. And it covers about 49% of the global financial assets based off of 2023. Now, so with this, they're reinvesting people's money into things like they would do that in like real estate. So one of Trump's executive orders, I think, was directly affecting this shadow banking in this sense. I know that there's other methods. I'm not an expert, but I feel like he's pointing at something. I wanted to bring this up to see what you all thought as well. And one of the things that it's so money laundering in shadow banking is done a majority through cryptocurrency as well. So that's another aspect to think about with this.
Interesting for sure. I mean, I wouldn't. Money's not my thing for sure.
It's kind of two pronged, really. So there is that side of it, but there's also the fact that money for development is coming from private finance rather than just the banking industry. So maybe, if you go way back, you'll probably find that, like, say, very little was coming from private entities. And there seems to be a kind of transition going on where the banks don't have a monopoly on that market anymore as well.
Correct. I find it just very interesting because I feel like we're in that kind of intersection. I know that private equity firms are buying up a load. They're making tons of money. So I'm wondering what President Trump is pointing at. Is it before the crash? It was good, and the stuff, was it really the shadow banking, or is it the entities behind the shadow banking that caused it? So
both.
Okay, they go hand in hand then.
Yeah, because
usual, same playbook.
Those large companies, for example, I remember I think it was 2020, 2021, and there was this Chinese billionaire that set up like a hedge fund or something, and a lot of the major banks gave him billions, and he was investing in Bitcoin, and it all went belly up. And banks like Deutsche Bank, but anyway, big banks, they were having to pay billions per quarter to cover the debt. But they just gave this guy loads of money because he said he was doing something with Bitcoin, or, and it was ridiculous. But what I'm saying is he lost money, or maybe his company lost money, but the banks lost money. If you remember Evergreen, the Chinese property company, how many major banks invested in that, and then that went belly up as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Would this be considered that, Mac? Let's see here, really quick. 24 seconds. Is this considered shadow banking?
Elon Musk has offered to pay TSA workers during this DHS shutdown. Is this something that you've been speaking to him about?
Yeah, I'd love it. I think it's great. Let him do that. And I want to thank ICE because they stepped in so strongly. They'll do great. And if that's not enough, I'll bring in the National Guard. We're not going to have the Democrats.
Oh, wait, you'll do what? You'll bring in
National Guard. We're not going
the National Guard.
have the Democrats destroy our country. These people are the most destructive, sick people.
Me, or does he look better than he did when he looks better now than he did in 2017? A little younger, definitely.
He was a little bit older. I mean, a little thinner. I think he was a little bit more puffier in the face, maybe.
Portly, puppy.
Yeah, portly.
But yeah, look at it. Is that a shadow? Is that a form of shadow finance?
I don't think so. I think that's like charity, isn't it? I think that's great. I think whoever makes a lot of money should try to help out as many people as possible. So, not expecting any return. You should be thankful you have that much money in the greatest country ever. So, I think it's good. Basically, a lot of Elon's wealth is because of American taxpayer money. So thank you very much. We'll take some of that money back.
We'll take some of that back. This is just a side one. And I put in, free Tina Peters. I put a post out basically on my Twitter, and I put free Tina Peters, exclamation point. Trump administration cancels $109 million in environmentally focused transportation grants for Colorado. You think that's a little jab at them, perhaps? I think it might be. But also we had, and I was debating, should I play it, should I not play it? But you guys know we had essentially Lee Zeldin coming out, essentially admitting to chemtrails, right? You guys have all heard that one? Basically admitting to it now. So.
Yeah, and
I remember when it was first sold as radar blockers in certain areas, and then it just went everywhere, apparently.
Oh, crap. Yeah, Miss Lisa.
What were you saying, Lisa? Sorry, go ahead.
No. It's fine. I was just thinking about that, and like say, wouldn't that be a key priority, given that it's like poisoning everybody? You know.
Yes,
Um,
100%.
why would it? Why is it not a key priority to stop it? In England, Britain, we've just invested 66 million in doing that type of thing.
Ugh.
66 million. We keep getting this really strange fog. It's not like normal fog that I remember being a kid. It feels like it's blanket, blocks everything out, and it's there in the morning, but it's just a weird, you can't see through it at all. When you're looking at a building or a tree, it's just disappeared, like it's like almost like it's solid. When you look up at the sky and it's going to snow and it looks solid, that's what the fog looks like.
Any smell
Never
to
seen
it?
before. I don't know, because I just stay in when it's like that. I think I'm not going out there breathing in that crap, whatever it is. But I first noticed it in 2020, and it's been going on ever since. But before 2020, never seen the likes of it before. Never.
You guys never did, huh? Wow. Yeah, we've had them here for quite some time. But the thing I can say for sure is that, for me anyways, they're a lot less than I used to be, and it should be zero, right? And so what it was for me anyway, I would watch, and I lived near an airport before, right? And so you would see none of this at all, none of it, till about 10:30, and then you'd see a little, very thin one, and then that little thin one would float away, and then it starts being this thick here, but then it ends up being as thick as this whole picture is within a couple of hours, right? And then as the day goes on, the whole sky is blanketed. And one thing I always noticed, guys, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but it was always seeming to be, maybe it was because you could see it better, but to me it always seemed like it was heavily and more heavy on the sun side, as if maybe they were trying to block something in the direction of the sun, right? And I know a lot of people in the past would say, oh, Planet X, Nibiru, and blah, 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 whatever. But to me, it seemed like, because I was always seeing the heaviness on the sun side. And if I looked to the opposite side of the sun, I never saw half as much. So I don't know if you've experienced that same thing, Mac, in your area down. I know you're, 10 hours south of me anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Guys get them a lot down there still now?
Yeah,
or?
yeah, because of military and government, all that stuff. So we got a lot of it, but it comes and goes. It's weird. Have noticed that it seems to be less, but they're still there. Like I said, it was supposed to be for like satellite, radar blockers, satellite blockers. I don't know the proper term, but so you wouldn't be able to, foreign entities wouldn't be able to see, military and government installations that were needed to be, maybe covered.
Yeah,
So,
and some of these, just so people know, like some of these are genuine, just contrails, right? Like I'm gonna be like the last person to ever say chemtrails don't exist, but there are
this just
contrails.
looks like clouds. It looks like cloud seeding too. That could also be it. And then controlling the weather. So we know that this is possible. There was an interview done fairly recently where I forget the name of the company, he had a mullet haircut and said that that weather manipulation wasn't possible. But then the North Carolina thing happened, and come to find out his company had been there doing some weather manipulation testing, not like a couple months prior to that, or weeks, I can't remember.
Well,
But and it's been done all the way back to Vietnam and prior to that, weather manipulation. And there's different processes to go about it. And so therefore the technology's changed and the way to do it has changed. They probably even do it by satellite now too, given that we have the admission of direct energy weapons. So
well, the thing that slightly worries me is the fact that these billionaires are all invested or own companies that provide that service. So from Gates to Bezos, they've all invested it. So for me, it feels like a scam, They poison us and they get paid for it. I just told you that the British government, 66 million, they just spent on spraying the atmosphere, you know?
That's
and they've admitted that they don't know what the result will be. You know, they haven't looked into whether it's poisoning people, but if you look at the substances that they use, of course it's poisoning people. And or, you know, it's coming down, it's hitting the soil, and it's depleting the plants of what they need.
They're finding abnormal amounts of aluminum, for example, in the soil.
Yeah.
So,
and that would stop a plant from being able to uptake nutrients and things like that. So therefore your food is now tainted. So it's like, why isn't it priority for these people to get rid of it? You know? And
Absolutely.
Why are we being experimented on en masse?
I'm taking this as your mullet guy. and Lisa, to your guys' point, they did it in the Beijing Olympics. It says it wasn't just China and Beijing Olympics that utilized weather modification. The London Olympics did it too. They did it in Saudi Arabia in the Middle East to make it more rainy. They did it in the Olympics to make it less rainy, I believe, right?
Yeah, but we know that it goes beyond that. That's kind of, you know, like for public consumption, so that we don't worry about it. But we know that, you know, Bill Gates' whole thing is like block out the sun. It's like, we need the sun. We need it for vitamin D. You know, it's good for plants. It's good for the earth. You know, and we get a lot of energy from that, you know?
I find the storms are something they create as well. Hurricanes, tornadoes, they make them. They may not create them. They may intensify the storm to make it worse. Therefore, they have to, you know, they get government federal funding. They, you know, some actor or actress or musician comes out, asks to donate to some charity. You know, Bono did something similar where he, you know, didn't like $100 million go to like buying guns instead of to a charity. So they're all tied in, and they've used these terrible these technologies in a terrible way. It's crazy. Katrina could be weather modification storm, definitely.
Well, Katrina's interesting because of where it started. Like, it didn't come from the sea; it started on land. You know, you had Duke Energy that opened up their sluice gates and things like that. You know, you had Kamala Harris and her husband, Kamala Harris, signing off the expansion of licenses for the people that were mining minerals and resources. You know, and with her husband having shares in those companies, and the local people having said no, we don't want it. And then it was much worse because is it called the tailings or something? Anyway, the tailings just created more mud. You know what I mean? So it was just a mess, really. But I just put an article in the bottom there. Thank you, North Carolina Warrior, about the CCP connections and non-profits and environmental.
Yeah,
let me pull that
Lisa,
up
I
for a
was
second.
thinking, I don't know if you mentioned, Lisa, the dam. Did they ever admit to letting the dam out because of?
Yeah, they did. That's what I just meant. That was Duke Energy, I believe.
I just wanted to clarify. All right.
And then also, you know, with North Carolina, you know, it's one of the best places. I think it's the best place, the best quality quartz as well. You know, is produced in that area where Hurricane Helene hit. They've got certain herbs, you know, that just grow wild, and all kinds of things. And people keep their land. You know, when they're on land, they're keeping it in the family for generations. And we know that FEMA. I think who was it? Something like BlackRock or Vanguard. You know, they got the contract to go and possess these properties that had been hit by the storm, and the people ran them out of town. Actually, it was fantastic. Let me tell you, fantastic.
Don't mess with the mountain people.
Yeah, everybody, and I think maybe. they might have experienced a little bit of violence, you know. I'm not complaining about that given what they were doing, you know. But anyway, have a look at that article.
Absolutely will. We're going to get to that. I'm just going to play 10 seconds of, you guys brought up Katrina, and I'm going to show you guys, here's the funny part of the show.
You read my mind.
So I'm going to play this only because I want you guys to just watch Kanye brewing the whole time, and then watch him when Kanye talks. It's one of the funniest things I've seen ever. And it's sad, of course, because it was during Katrina while people were dying.
And subtle, but in even many ways more profoundly devastating, is the lasting damage to the survivors' will to rebuild and remain in the area. The destruction of the spirit of the people of southern Louisiana and Mississippi may end up being the most tragic loss of all.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Please call.
Oh, God. Let's just do that again.
His head around so quick.
He's like, okay, thank you. George Bush doesn't like black people. He's like, okay, well, you can call in at, and look, Chris Tucker's like, oh, wait, am I still going to Africa with
Clinton?
Yeah, cue it to the other black guy. Oh, my God.
Am I going with Bill Clinton and the other guy to, who was it, Kevin Spacey? Oh, my word. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to happen. He doesn't like black people. This one right here. Okay. We just read it. Communist Party using nonprofit networks to attack American energy. Reports suggest a report by the Pelican Institute for Public Policy suggests that the Chinese Communist Party may be indirectly supporting environmental advocacy efforts in the U.S. through funding connections. According to the report, Earth Justice, an environmental law organization, received over $6 million since 2003 from Energy Foundation China. EFC, a nonprofit with ties to the Chinese government. You guys aren't missing much on the screen. I'm just reading in the Telegram link here. Nonprofit ties with the Chinese government. His leadership is connections to the Chinese government, including former roles in China's National Center for Climate Change Strategy. Earth Justice has represented groups opposing energy projects in Louisiana, including petrochemical and gas plants. These groups are part of Louisiana Against False Solutions, which the Pelican Institute says is funded by out-of-state donors, including Bloomberg Philanthropies and the Bezos Earth Fund. The report implies a broader strategy by EFC to influence energy policies in the United States. Cocoon AI summary. Chinese Communist Party connected organization gave millions of dollars to an environmental law nonprofit that targets energy projects in Louisiana. And actually, that AI summary was good for me, Lisa, to help. Yeah. Crazy.
But the thing is, you can see how it works because, you know, it's like, why did Biden kind of cancel giving out licenses for drilling, climate change, environmental? Why did they shut down the rare earth mines? Climate change, environmental. You see what I mean? And meanwhile, these things that you're not producing that you could produce, you have to get from elsewhere. So somebody's making money, you know, in the UK, them shutting down North Sea gas, the North Sea oil, whatever you want to call it, and making it really expensive so that the companies are pulled out and they're not going to get that energy. And it's like, oh, looky here, you know, our prices have gone up because we have to buy oil from somewhere else when we could be getting it ourselves. You know, it's kind of ridiculous, but you can see the strategy there. They're using environmental issues to stop the business from going ahead.
And we need to do a lot of that in a bunch of different, you know, like medicines and stuff like that. You know, we need to make it so we're making all the necessary things here in the United States. And we're doing a lot of that with manufacturing and stuff. But yeah, we need to make sure we're not relying on any other country other than ourselves, you know. And of course, we're going to need to get certain products that we don't have here in the United States, but you know, make it so as many possible products as we can make here, we can. And Mac dropped this one. This is what I was referencing earlier. This is Japan.
I watched
it. This is the Japanese, was it Prime Minister or whatever? And so you guys recall Pearl Harbor, right? A little attacky.
Why didn't you tell U.S. allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran. So we are very confused about we Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor?
Da 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 da. I mean, that is just no other president would have done that, right? Like nobody would have touched that. I mean, and it's true, right? Like, hey, we're over here making some good deals with you, this, that, and the other. But guess what, guys? At the end of the day, they're going to possibly help us out a little there with the, they say they're going to, I believe, with the Strait of Hormuz. So we'll see what happens. And like anything, he's spotlighting the hell out of these people. You don't want to help us, but you guys need the oil more than anything. So it's reminding these people that you don't have the, USA sheriff around. And I don't want the USA. I've said this for years and years and years, even before I was doing videos, that I love the people of the United States. I love our military, but I don't love the way our leaders have been using them. Like, oh, what was that phrase? Like, dumb men to be, killed on the battlefield, essentially, right? We're going to go over there and do all these banker wars that have been going on forever and ever and ever. That stuff needs to stop. Like, we need to absolutely put a kibosh in it. And by all accounts, he may be doing that right now and trying to get these last final pieces, because no president ever wanted to go into Iran, even though they all said, except for Obama, that they were going to do it, right? Nobody else stepped up to do it, and he's catching a bunch of crap for it. So we'll see how this stuff plays out in the end. Getting very juicy out there, and a lot of people are taking sides out there, and I just find it, I'm just amazed at how many people were so, backing Trump for years, just immediately. And I'm talking like day one of this, day two of this, just like, nope, he's with BB, nope, done. And just blackpilling the crap out of everybody. And all of these people that have the audience to spout to only have that audience because of him, period. Right? And so I just don't understand. Maybe they were never on his side anyway. But again, like to Lisa's point, there are questions, and if we never have that discussion, if we're never loud about that discussion, then that topic never gets settled. And that's how I see that stuff going. All right, guys, anything else we got on the menu that we haven't discussed? Because Mac's always like,
Did you want to do the White House video real quick that
Sure,
connects to? It was right below the 1929 video. Yeah, the March Madness video. And just looking for hidden messages like we always do. I don't know if there's much music or anything, but several things stuck out.
Turn it down.
Obviously, March Madness being a common, the Q drops. This right here, Doma, maybe. Was kind of looking into that, what that might have meant. But at the end here, it comes in, it's the Wilson basketball. Obviously, Wilson's official sponsor. You have March Madness, but looking into Wilson, we had many comms. Obviously, we remember the Wilson volleyball and Tom Hanks and that whole theory there. Yeah, and then I thought about, because it went down the presidential Walk of Fame here. Thought about President Woodrow Wilson, and dug into that. And ironically, Woodrow Wilson was around for the horrible year of 1913, which set up a lot of bad things. The 16th Amendment, which gave us taxes, the Revenue Act, income taxes, the Federal Reserve Act. So, and then this is a POV, so point of view of what Trump's looking at his desk, Resolute desk.
That's cool, huh? I like that. I like the lighting too. Nice.
Yeah. So, just found it very, very telling that with all the train events, things we've been talking about, and how we're seemingly correcting what has been wronged for so long. And Trump has a plan to do it. So I feel like these are some comms that we're heading that direction, where to look, and possibly in their strategy forward.
For sure. Yeah, March Madness, and what comes after March Madness? April showers, perhaps. But I would say it is certainly madness in March this year, more than it's ever been since 2017-18. Now, I think that's an accurate statement.
Lisa,
right
did you have any other thoughts? I can't remember when we spoke.
Well, I just looked at it on that video. Well, when the ball goes forward, it looks like it goes through a portal. You know?
All right,
I
Greg.
think like right at the end.
Yeah.
So I
see.
was looking at that. I was looking at the Roman kind of decoration, but that looks like a portal. Yes.
Yeah, it matches the World Cup kind of logo.
That's like another dimension or another universe or whatever, or a change. I don't know what it represents.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's like what is it? Spider-Man into the metaverse or whatever it is. The that guy who kept spinning his arms to open up the thing.
I also, when they walk through.
Yeah, I also see kind of like the symbol of like the FIFA trophy, which is like a neutron surrounded by electrons and stuff. So yeah, to go with your portal thing, it's interesting. Definitely.
And then you've got the beam of light coming down as well.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna read this comment, and then I might even do a little commercial. But you guys think of anything else that we want to touch on? But I want to read this comment first, and I think this is great too. And thank you, SGT Rock 007, for posting this comment. This is my feelings, except for I have not served in the military. He says, Trump has not let me down yet. I don't listen to anyone, even if they're military. I served 20 years and 3 wars. I only trust God. Oh yeah, I mean that's for me, guys.
I agree more.
Yeah, for me, he's not done a thing to not earn my trust or not keep. I don't want to say earn, to keep my trust. I would say, yeah, the way to right now. So, unfortunately, there's some other folks out there that just jumped headfirst into the blackpilling, and then other people are more rational about, hey, we can see things on both sides, but other people, unfortunately, cannot. So, yeah, Mac, Lisa, just figure out if there's anything else we want to touch on before we hit the road. I know there's also some things you guys dropped in there for things. I'll hear me do this.
Lower right.
Did you say Black Dorito? Where?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the
a couple
B2,
yeah.
B2 bomber. The B2 bomber.
They call it the Black Dorito.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, they do call it the Black Dorito. All right, guys, look at see if there's any other stories. Quick, I'll blast one of these bad boys out of here. Quick, my old favorite, the Kids Guide. All righty, parents. Real talk for a second. America's about to hit a huge milestone. We're coming up on America's 250th birthday. 250 years of freedom, grit, sacrifice, and the greatest experiment in self-government the world has ever seen. This is the perfect moment to help your kids understand why this country matters. It's not just fireworks and hot dogs, but the story behind it all. There's a free guide called The Kids Guide to America's 250th Birthday, and it's honestly a great way to introduce kids to how America began and who the founding fathers were and what they risked and why the ideas they fought for still matter today. This guide sends kids back to the moment when brave men signed the Declaration of Independence, knowing full well they were risking their lives for freedom, and it breaks it all down in a way kids can actually understand and enjoy without watering it down or turning it into boring schoolwork. And if you care about raising your kids that know where your country came from and why it's worth preserving, this is something you'll want to grab. And the best part, completely free with this special offer. You only need to pay $2 for shipping and handling. Head over to freeusabirthday.com. That's freeusabirthday.com. And the Kids Guide to America's 250th Birthday for your kids today. America's story matters. Make sure the next generation knows it. Boom. All right. And I actually was thinking, don't ask me how, guys, but I'm reading that and I'm literally thinking of another story that I forgot to bring on. So I will grab that as well. But have you guys got anything else that you wanted to make sure we did not miss? Oh, I didn't. Mac, Lisa, anybody there?
How about the?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lisa. You go first.
They're talking. I got my friggin'.
As we're dealing with, like, say, alternative thoughts and things that we kind of need to discuss, I put there's a video. You don't have to play it all, but it's of a rabbi, and it gives you an idea of where some people's heads are at. And then, if you turn that around and deal with people who don't think the same as you, then you might there might be a bit more understanding of where some people are coming from.
This guy right here?
Well, there's Ehud Barak, but there's that rabbi.
Ooh.
He speaks in English.
Evil. Is he nice? Is he a nice guy? Let's see. All right, here we go. Let's pull it up. See what we got here.
Because the most powerful nations in the world have to go down to their knees. That's what happened to Egypt. That's what's going to happen to America. That's what's going to happen to Germany. That's what's going to happen to France. That's what's going to happen to London. England's going to happen to Poland. That's what's going to happen to Russia. That's what's going to happen to China. That's what's going to happen to North Korea. They're all going to go down. They're all going to go down to their knees, especially the Western ones. The Zohar says that they're going to go down hard for how they treated us over the last 2,000 years, for the destruction of the Second Temple and how they treated us. Hashem's going to take them down hard. He's going to humiliate them on the world stage. Western countries, Asaph, Edom. I'll take that one. That's what I want to see. I don't want anyone to get hurt, but let's move things ahead a little bit. So, of course, the world's going crazy now. Things are going to be speeding up a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But we're almost there, guys. It's happening. This is it. And so, yeah, it's less ethnocentric. It's less ethnocentric. Because the reason God's doing this is for His name in this world. And His name being made great amongst us, we already think His name's great. It's the world stage where His name is going to be made great. And that's going to be the ultimate fireworks show. That's going to be where the biggest Kiddush Hashem will happen, is when Hashem's name is made great in this world. Amen.
Oh, I don't like the sounds of that one, Lisa.
No, that's what I'm saying to you is that, people have that type of information and they've listened to that. Do you see what I mean? So when you say about what is affecting people, he's talking about Israel will take over and, doesn't care about the rest of the world. Everybody's going to drop to their knees, even America. So I'm just trying to, show you that, say, people have listened to this or things like that, which is going on at the same time as everything else, but that to them represents Israel.
Bananas. Yeah, no, and that's it, right? It's the way they've treated us for the last 2,000 years. What is this? What? Explain that one to me, Matt, because I don't know what he's talking about there. Oh, what they've done to us for 2,000 years? Oh,
yeah, I mean, it just it's manipulation of a theme. So I just consider it not the traditional way of Judaism, and we were explaining the difference of it sounds more of a Zionistic approach, which is political. It's not a religion, and they've confused the two to kind of infiltrate and hide behind. So like Zionism's based on supremacy. They're going to be the ones to come out on top no matter what. So that's what I heard when I watched that just now. I don't know who the guy is, but
You're correct, man. You're correct. You're correct. This isn't all Jews,
Yeah, and Matt,
hopefully that's bringing truth a little bit to educating people about all this. Because there's been a lot of deception. So I think a lot of this is knee jerking, but people need to teach themselves to start looking a little bit deeper, no matter how it is. And a lot of people like to listen to other people in order to get information. Just absorb what you can, take those facts, try to match them up somewhere else, and find the best way to that truth. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look at like nice Ben Shapiro, haha, wink, wink, he doesn't outwardly say that stuff, but then you see this guy saying stuff like that, and you're like, well, a lot of these people do believe that, that they're the oppressed race, and they got their eyes closed by God, and now they can, and that's why I don't like the whole free reign. Like they got a free pass to basically do whatever the hell they wanted to for the last couple thousand years, but they're God's people, so they get their eyes closed. That's the problem I had with all of that.
I don't know when like religion in general was made to kill other people. It was made to worship God.
Yes,
backbone. So it becomes very, very strange how they manipulate things. So
very much. What do we got here, Mac? A missing Air Force general?
yeah, there's
What?
these scientists that keep disappearing that had access to maybe UFO technology or maybe the science behind it. And there's one guy that's, I think if you want to read it, you can more than welcome to. But there's two that have disappeared. Well, I think in this article, but there's more. I think if you date it back more years. So,
U.S. rocket scientist vanished without a trace. Los Angeles hike 8 months before retired Air Force General William McCaslin disappeared under eerily similar circumstances, and the two had a close professional connection. Monica Reza went missing on the morning of June 22nd of 25 in the Angeles National Forest while hiking with two experienced companions who were exploring the popular Mount Waterman Trail, according to a Facebook page dedicated to finding her. 4'11", 101 pounds. Volunteers and authorities searched the area for months using helicopters, radars, hikers, droves of hikers, and dogs found no trace of Reza, 60 years old, who's considered a missing person still, according to the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. Oh, wow. So these are all in the same thing. They're basically, doing UFO type of stuff, or
so that type of research, classified stuff, and it does correlate to some UFO or UAP research.
Mike, what's that guy from the band called?
Tom DeLonge.
All right, so one of these guys is one of the people that he mentions that he's spoken to. One of the people gone missing it used to speak to Tom DeLonge.
It might be the woman, because that super alloy, they said they had a foreign substance that was non-earthly in their possession, so maybe it correlates to her. Because she has gotten, from what I've seen, hardly any press. The general, the Air Force, has gotten more press than her so far.
Got missing general Neil McCaslin, UFO claims, and an unfolding mystery. Liberation Times. So yeah, I mean, these people are all into something that, of course, they don't want the information coming out. And man, he looks a little bit like a mix between Fauci and Gates. 2 weeks have passed. Vanished from Albuquerque, and the facts, such as they are, remain spare, cold, and strangely resistant to meaning. He actually did a little mini UFO story yesterday. Told about my big flashing blue light that I saw with the big noise that you could actually feel on your body as it went past us. That was crazy. We had 6 witnesses, no stimulants whatsoever, maybe coffee, but yeah, they don't want some of this stuff getting out for sure. And it makes you wonder, like, were they going to talk? Or, if it says right here that they made claims, then if he's claiming that he's seeing something, then maybe they're going to take him out or disappear him before he gets to say out whatever he wanted to. Leave his red backpack, wallet, and .38 revolver with a leather holster are unaccounted for. Imagine they zapped him up to he tries to pull a revolver on like an alien. It just melts it. But yeah, that's very possible. I mean, is it somebody in our government trying to keep this guy, or did he make contact with something or whatever? Now, of course, we'll probably never know. We'll probably never get an answer to this.
It's a couple options, were they working with any corporations other than, just the government? Because there are black projects. And you do wonder if they, with with all that's being disclosed and the pushback we're getting to the disclosure, makes you wonder. So hopefully the Department of War discloses a lot very soon and we can pick through it. But I understand why a lot of this isn't talked about. It's because it's technology that they've been able to figure out. But I don't know if they'll go too much into detail, but we'll definitely hear some connecting of dots of whatever it is to come out. So, but I do kind of have in the back of my mind, did they figure out how to in some way warp or travel in time? I think warping time might be how they, the way they travel in these high velocities, but then you wonder if they're able to somehow time travel, and that's been
Bend the
like
fabric.
theorized with like Townsend Brown, a lot of lore. So, and then we get into Trump playing off with the Barron's book and time
so
travel. Yeah, so it's just it makes you wonder what the heck's going on in reality sometimes. But I not to digress, but the technology is something I think that's being well guarded, and I wonder to what extent it goes and how far back in history it goes as well.
True. All right, guys. Well, it's almost 10 o'clock, and I figure if we wrap it up here, Lisa, of course, don't want to cut you off. Is there anything else that you want to bring to anybody's attention? And I know,
no,
wait, there's
fine.
one more. There is one more I got. I'm sorry. This is just a quick one, and it's probably 100% nothing. But here we go. Big hat tip to Bree, reminding me on this one here. Charlie Kirk mentor dies in a freak. Now get this, pickleball accident. A dear friend to Charlie. So apparently this dude died playing pickleball. A couple of weeks ago, he was playing pickleball, hit his head. Kirk mentor Jeff Webb dies in freak pickleball accident. A dear friend to Charlie. Texas businessman, visionary who helped shape generations of young leaders, died at 76, 2 weeks after suffering a serious head injury when he fell playing the popular sport. Two things. I didn't know pickleball was that popular. And
yeah, it's big. It's very popular.
Really?
It's because anybody of any age can play it. Is how it's being presented. Yeah, so it's catching fire in the elderly, the older people, I think, as well. Like, I don't know. Don't want to draw any comparisons.
Tennis,
but
right?
It's a very popular game now with all ages. I'll say that.
Yeah, and you've got billionaires trying to put a pickleball court in their gardens and getting on the wrong side of the neighbours. Peltz is his name, the guy that tried to buy into Disney, and he may have just taken over Wendy's or something like that. His name's Peltz. He donates to the Republicans, I believe.
Hey, Pell, P-E-L-L?
P-E-L-T-Z. Peltz.
Oh, Peltz. Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking about we have a Claiborne Pell here in Rhode Island. But yeah, this is weird. I thought that somebody was trying to say in this picture that something happened, but they just put a thing where a woman was drunk driving and her husband died. Mac?
I just find it so weird that guy just passed away. Just so strange. Like
this one?
Yeah, his mentor. So
pickleball.
He probably, yeah, just so weird. Reminds me of the guy who invented, what was it called? The two-wheel machines that you stand up on. What are they called?
Oh, like a hoverboard or
No, they got two wheels and. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank.
I don't remember the name. I know exactly what you mean, Mac.
It's not a Sea-Doo. It's
push them forward. Push the handles forward.
Yeah. Police and
Segway.
Looks like Segway.
Segway. Yes, he died doing an off-road Segway, and he fell off a mountain cliff. And then that was a while back, but recently, the creator of Call of Duty, I believe it was, died in that car accident.
Yeah,
they had that on. And then the Activision guy's under investigation too.
I'll tell you who else died. The guy that owns OnlyFans.
Oh yeah, he just died.
Yes.
Yeah, and he died really young. He died
The
of
founder
cancer.
or co-founder.
He's the founder. He's the founder.
Founder, I think he was like 43 or something.
Sorry?
How old was he? I think he was like 43.
40s, 50s. He wasn't, wasn't old at all. And by the way, pickle for us, if you say somebody's you just said pickleball, if you say somebody's in a pickle, you mean that they're in trouble, or in a bind kind of thing. I was just thinking about that. Pickleball accident,
I mean, it's just weird, right? You don't hear that ever. Like, I'm not going to even say every day. I've never heard that. Like, oh, dude died in a freak pickleball accident. Like, that's probably the only time you're ever going to hear that.
Lisa, I don't know if this is associated with the UK, but Robert Fox died, and he helped inspire The Crown, kept David Bowie's cancer a secret, and was part of the famous acting dynasty.
That's in family, yeah. There's Lawrence Fox is like, I think there's two Fox brothers that are famous for acting. You'll see them in a lot of period films, and often playing upper class people, and they're actually very good actors. And then they have like Amelia Fox, who's the daughter, and Lawrence Fox. Lawrence Fox is interesting. He's the son, and he is an actor. And he was blacklisted for supporting Trump, and I think he might be part of the Reform Party or something like that now. But he's been, kind of championing free speech because they really did try to cancel him just because of his political beliefs. So he was an actor. He's not supposed to speak up. He's supposed to just be all lovey-dovey all the time, and he wasn't.
Right. And one more too from yesterday. California sheriff seizes 650,000 ballots in defiance of state officials over election count dispute. Chad Bianco launched an investigation into the state's November 2025 special election on Proposition 50. After another outside team claimed it found roughly 45,000 excess votes. California election officials dismissed it, but Bianco says his office will conduct another count. Quote, "This investigation is simple. Physically count the ballots and compare that result with the votes, total votes recorded," Bianco told reporters. Proposition 50 was a key proposal seeking to reform California's congressional district. It was designed to favor Democrats in response to a similar effort by Republicans in Texas. So he said, you know what, I'm going to do this stuff myself, and I want to take over this investigation as well. And one more, California. New study reveals that Gavin Newsom's $20 an hour minimum wage hike in California is, guess what, like we said, backfiring, resulting in, just like we said, slashed hours, increased costs for customers, lack of hiring, and store closures. It's almost like forcing companies to pay high wages doesn't work. Who could have possibly guessed that?
Well, we didn't guess it because we've done the same. So younger people now have had a massive hike in their minimum wage, and so therefore people are not hiring them. So, like when people work their way up, you maybe start as an apprentice or whatever, or you start young and you get less than the person that's maybe over 30 or whatever, who's more mature and more experienced. That's no longer in the UK, and that's happening too.
Bananas. That is bananas. Well, guys, we just nailed. Actually, I think we started as my fault, of course, because I'm running the show here or running the ship. Exactly. Right now, we're running on 2 hours, 58 minutes, and 3 seconds. I'm just reading some stuff here. I'm gonna go thank a couple of folks. If there's anything on the way out you guys want to think about really quickly, but I'm thanking some folks over here on D Live. Thank you to Patriot Chick and Crowdeck and St. Cosmic Dildo are the top 3 contributors. Always get a gag out of that one. and them distributing those rewards, and they're coming at you in 26, 25, and counting, and heading over to the foxhole.app, aka pill.net. I've always said I think they should just form those into one website. Kind of use them as the same anyway, but make it one for everybody. Bois Blanc, thank you, Terry. Oh, we'll stay with Bois Blanc for now. Gift of the Can says Iran is surely taking our eyes off of Ukraine. Yes, it sure is. Absolutely is taking our eyes off of Ukraine and the Epstein files as well. So thank you for that, Bois Blanc. And then One Thunder with the Can, thank you for that one. I appreciate you guys over there. I'm going to release such scratching here. Let me get over. Okay. Any parting words out the door, Miss Lisa? Your farewells.
Oh yeah, thanks everybody for listening, and let's see what happens with this war come military operations. Sometimes they use war, sometimes they say military operations. So often from the same mouth, but interested to see what happens. See whether they can stave off what's going on with the economy. Because if prices keep going up, it's causing shortages, and also they say it'll cause a recession. So back to what you said, Mac, about 1929 was it, or something like that? But I'm just interested to see what happens, and I'm watching intently. Let me tell you.
Yeah, definitely. We are definitely all over it, and we're just waiting for the next shooter drop, so to speak, right? The next piece of intel that we can kind of soak up and run with, and we'll see how that goes going forward. But Mr. Mac, sir, great stuff today, as always. Mac and Lisa, of course. Sorry.
Yeah, great show. Thanks to everybody who tunes in. Don't forget to hit the like button. Let's see. One thing that was a first was that there was a Costa Rican ex-Supreme Court judge that was extradited to the U.S. under drug trafficking charges, which is pretty interesting. So that's the first of its kind, and that could be the hint of others to come with all this corruption that's been going on all over the world. So eyes on that. But yeah, I can't wait to see what the future has to hold for us here. I've got my eyes on everything, just trying to pick up tidbits and stuff. And Trump's really done a pretty good job in informing the public as usual, and just looking forward to next week. See what we got cooking.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely
Thanks
see
again.
what's coming on. It's gonna be interesting, guys, and remember, I got a little out of sorts. I don't remember at one point during the thing here, Trump did a speech, and I was like, "Oh man, this is ridiculous. He needs to whatever." And that one account, Entheos, was like, "Just follow what President Trump and follow what he's doing." And what I've been noticing too is, right, as we have all these major, or major, minor, whatever you want to say, conflicts going on, right? We have we're not involved, wink, wink, in the Ukraine and Russia thing, right? We got the Iran deal going on there. We have stuff going on in South America. We just yanked the dude out of Venezuela, and all while we do this, nobody else seems to stand up and do a damn thing about it. So I found that to be very interesting, but I just think we're absolutely living in uncharted territory here. And with all these things in mind, as we have all these conflicts come on, he's out there joking, "Oh, you should have told us about Pearl Harbor." Like, he doesn't look like a guy that's under like tremendous stress about, "Oh my goodness, these people don't have a missile. We took them out. They can't hit a missile with anybody anymore." And it's like, "Oh no, wait, they just hit it." You'd think he would have a little bit of stress on his face. I just don't see that in any way, shape, or form with him. But again, like Mac and Lisa said, we will see what the next information, the next shooter drop is. Thank you to Mac and Lisa. Great show as usual. That was episode 201 of Hold the Line. I want to, of course, thank all the mods as usual, as I do greatly appreciate your help, myself and many others along the way as well. And I would be back. Oh, so good to see you, dude. I thought this dude was missing. got an email. I'm glad. I thought somebody was missing, but he's not. Good. I'll let you guys know about that later if I get okay to talk about it. But for Mac and Lisa, we do appreciate each and every last one of you wonderful world patriots for tuning in out there. And until that next one, thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Peace.
Hello, guys. Something special is happening in here. That's right. It's brackets and jackets. Bringing it back for brackets and jackets. Special Epstein Island edition. That's right, folks. Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, the man with the island, which is suspiciously close to Haiti. That's right. You see, this man, Jeffrey Epstein, is funding lots of people. He's funding lots of people on the street to make sure his shit doesn't get out. That's right. They want the record sealed. And they're paying a lot of people. Epstein's paying a lot of people. Oh, boy. For one, he's got a whole Mossad media matrix in America. And I would bet you anything that Alex Jones is one of them. Prove me wrong. That's right. Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the building with songs about Epstein. It's Breakfast Jackets Epstein edition. Guys, I had some epiphanies today. I had some real big epiphanies about some guys. A big network of guys and spies and lies and liars. All right, think about this for a minute, okay? The guy in Portland, the scientist that just got busted for producing CP, that guy is 1 degree of separation away from Epstein. Epstein, the investor that lives in West Palm Beach, Florida. I know a guy who lives in West Palm Beach, Florida as well. Investor as well. Also involved as well. And all is not well with these guys. The Florida boys, the Glow boys, the Scott Israels of the world. You see, Epstein is Hillary Clinton. And Epstein is Haiti. And Epstein is a big network of media assets. By the way, did you know that Steve Bannon was going to that guy for money? Also, Epstein is Epstein Oprah. Epstein is Chris Tucker. You remember him. Epstein is also Kevin Spacey. Epstein is also Prince Andrew. Epstein is also... Who else is Epstein? Who else is Epstein? Tell me. You guys know? Who else is Epstein? Is Epstein Big Pharma? Is Epstein Bryan Singer? Is Epstein Naomi Campbell? Yep, all of the above. All of the above. Who is Epstein? Epstein is the keystone of a whole motherfucking matrix. And once you pull it out, it all falls down. Dersh was there too. That's right, we're dropping red pills every day. Dropping red pills in the best kind of way. This is brackets and jackets for the denizens of islands.